And I'm joined Lagos, Nigeria. Kindly let me know your name as well as where you are joining in from, as I'd like to welcome you properly into a session brought to you by Tanalytics. So just share your name as well as where you are joining in from. Right. I'm Priscilla. I'm joining in from Lagos, Nigeria. Right. So I have Ife Oluwa from Lagos. I have Adeza from Edmonton. We have Tandu. We have Ifemena. We have Adetunji. We have Faith. We have Barima from Ghana. Right. It's a pleasure to have you here. And this is the beauty of sessions like this. You get to be in the same space and in the same room with people all over the world. And you don't even have to go anywhere. You just need to join in with your mobile device and you get to be in the same space with these amazing persons. So today we have a masterclass brought to you by Tanalytics. And before we jump into it one more time, I'd like to know if this is your first time of joining us. So if this is the first time that you're getting to join a Tanalytics masterclass, please leave your one in the chat. Let's welcome you properly, right? If this is your first time, I'm seeing a lot of new names. Crispin, you're very much welcome. Akim, Joy, welcome, 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 right? It's really good to have you here today. Right, so today we're here to talk about why tech recruiters choose experience over certification. All right, this is what we're here to talk about today, and I'll briefly introduce you to Tanalytics and what we do here at Tanalytics. So I'll share my screen now, and as soon as you can see my screen, you can just let me know that you can see my screen. All right, so yes, if you can see my screen, could you leave a yes in the chat? All right, thank you so much. So today, like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about why tech recruiters choose experience over certification. I'm sure somewhere you'll be wondering, who are these people and how do they have so much knowledge, or how can they make bold claims to say that tech recruiters choose experience over certification? For some of us here would always think, okay, for me to break into tech, what certificates do I need, right? But today we're bringing a session to you and we're making bold to say that tech recruiters choose experience over certification. And in the next 2 hours, you get to see our reasons for telling you this, right? So this session is brought to you by Tanalytics. And for those of us just joining us for the first time, Tanalytics is an educational technology company. And if you know what edtech firms do, they bring education to your doorstep, right? You learn in the comfort of your environment, right? So we're one of those edtech firms, a foremost tech ed firm, right? And we help our focus, right? Every organization has its focus and purpose, right? And ours is to help Africans and people of the Black community learn premium tech skills, right? To help Africans and people of the Black community learn premium tech skills. And we do this by lowering the entry barrier into tech, right? It's more like we help you transition into tech by learning, holding your hands and you learning premium tech skills while we've, sorted out the path for you. We've created a path for you, right? So we give you all of this, right, by lowering the entry barrier into tech, right? So our service offerings are aimed at building capacity and understanding across different tech fields, which includes data analytics, data science, data engineering, business analysis, HR analytics, financial analytics, amongst the others, right? I would teach people this just so that they go into any organization and they are able to make or achieve data-driven decisions, right? So how are we able to help people lower the entry barrier into tech? We have facilitators that help with this, right? So, and our facilitators are top professionals from diverse sectors such as Apple, Microsoft, McKinsey, Sahara Group, P&G, Google, amongst the others. Our courses are also structured in a way that makes it practical and ensures that you get optimal value, right? So this, I'm sure with this introduction, somewhere in your mind, you feel relaxed to say that, yes, these people can actually make this claim to say or to tell me that tech recruiters actually choose experience over certification. So these are the founders of Tanalytics. We have Adeza Suleiman and we have Ifemena Ipro, right? Adeza Suleiman will be the facilitator for this session. And yes, we have him right on our screen. Adeza is the founder of Tanalytics and he has close to a decade experience, right? He's a data analytics expert. Adeza is a data science consultant, both in the UK and US, and he will be taking you through this session. So somewhere, if you've got your notepad and pen, please just have them really close to you, just so that you can take down salient points. You can pick Adeza's brain and you get to also ask questions. So hi, Adeza, good evening. Or good afternoon, as the case may be.
Yeah, good afternoon from here, Priscilla. Fantastic introduction. How are you doing today?
Very well. You have the floor. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. All right, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. I'm super excited to be here today to share some knowledge and experience in a very, I would say, interesting area for those who would like to transition into tech. All right, because most of the time people get confused and torn in between, what do I do first? How do I transition if I want to get a job across the globe? All right. And Priscilla has done a fantastic job introducing our session today. So what I advise you to do, if you have a brother, you have a friend, you have any colleague, contemporary that you think would benefit from today's session, share the message with them, let them join us and have an amazing time as well. All right. Now let's get into it. Okay. So what do tech recruiters, what do they look out for? And that's the main essence of our session. Should I focus on just, getting certifications? Do I focus on other things? And I'll be sharing what exactly you need to do eventually for you to crack that particular ceiling and get a job within the tech ecosystem. Just a brief introduction, what we do and the focus for us at Tanalytics, like Priscilla mentioned, is to help as many people, Africans in Africa, Africans in the diaspora, and across the globe to break into tech and also transition to get a job. I've worked in data, most especially for the most part of my career, but I didn't start out in tech. My first degree is in industrial chemistry, for example. I also started out as a management consultant, but along the line, I pivoted into data analytics. So the question is, how did I do it? How did I land my first job? Did I need to go write a certification? Was that important across my journey? And I'll be, breaking that down today. But first of all, before we even get into it, over a decade within the tech ecosystem, and I have 0 certifications. All right. I've worked for organizations in the UK, in the US, across Africa for some of the largest multinational companies. I'm in Canada, recently moved to Canada. But then again, like I said earlier, 0 certifications. So how did I do it? And how can you do the same? And we're going to crack that today. And it's going to be very practical. I want it to be as engaging as possible. So feel free, let's interact, ask your questions as soon as they occur to you. Ifemena is the co-founder of Tanalytics, fantastic professional, worked as a data analyst, worked as a business intelligence engineer, worked as a data science contractor across the UK, the US, Canada, also led the data support team at the post office in the UK, close to a decade years of experience as well. And Ifemena would, at some point when you join any of our programs, would be one of the facilitators and one of the resource persons that will be helping you break into the tech ecosystem. Together, over the last 4 years, we've been able to help over 2,000 people across the globe to land their very first jobs in tech. And our session today would go through 3 major phases. The first phase is where we talk about the nitty-gritty and the most important part of our session today, which is why tech recruiters would always prefer skills and experience to any certification out there. That's the first phase of our session. The second phase would be understanding the different tech career path. All right. Some of you joined our session, the Instagram live we had yesterday. And some of the questions we got, what does a data analyst do? What does a business analyst do? What does a HR analyst do? We'll be breaking that down today as well. And of course, I'll be introducing you to our upcoming program on the 2nd of March, 2024. I'll share some success stories with you, and I would also share some discounts that we have available for you guys today. And this is how our session would go. We're going to get right into it. We're going to get right into our session. And like I said, I want the session to be as interactive as possible, and it's going to be very, very practical. Okay, very practical. So why tech recruiters prefer skills and experience to certifications. That's our session today, the main meat of the session today. Now, certifications without skills and experience are worthless. Most of the time, based on my experience, I've engaged with a lot of people that have certifications, so many of them. Now, the people, and this is what I've noticed over time, all right? The people that put certification, all right, let me just call it certificates, before the skills are usually empty. Empty in the sense that they don't have the skills and the depth of the knowledge required to get a job in that career path. It's easy, and I always say this all the time, it's easy for anybody to write an exam and pass that exam. It's easy for anybody to get a certification. That's one of the easiest things you can do. And there are so many certifications out there. I don't need to have experience. All I need to do is grab a book, read the book, work on different past questions for 2, 3, 4 weeks, and I can sit for the exams and I'll pass that exam, especially if you're above average in terms of your IQ. You'd pass that exam and have the certification. But now it's time for you to get the job. You've put out your CV, you've applied to so many jobs. Would you actually be able to defend what you have on your CV that you can actually do the job when you get that job on day one? Most of the time, like I said, it's always a no. All right. So putting certifications before the skills is equivalent to putting the cart before the horse. All right. So you never want to do this. Certifications are worthless. They are useless if you don't have the skills and experience. And I'm going to get to the part where we'll talk about getting the experience, because for some of you, you are new. You haven't done this before. It's a new experience for you. So how do you get the experience? How do you get the skills? And I'll get into that and show you practically how you can do it. Now, what we also do, because we are a data company at Tenalytics, and as a data company, as a data analyst, you must do some level of research. And part of the research we've done, apart from our experience over the years, looking at how important certifications are. Now, most organizations in the major economies, for those of you in the US, in Canada, in the UK, recruiters have seen that employees that are hired based on their skills do a lot better than employees hired based on education and based on certification. All right. So a study was done and published by the American Psychological Association sometime in 2022. And one of the first things they found was hiring for skills, hiring employees based on the skills that they have is 5 times more predictive of job performance than hiring for education. So when you list out, you see those job vacancies, you need somebody who has masters or bachelors and so on. If you hire somebody based on education, that person is likely going to perform 5 times below somebody that has been hired for skills. That's on the one hand. Now, hiring for skills also shows that it's predictive of a better job performance 2 times more than hiring for experience. So even as important as experience is, if you hire somebody based on skills, you can predict the person's performance 2 times more than when you hire that person based on the experience that they've had. All right. And this is a study done and published. And I've also kept the link for you to also, go to that particular article, read it and digest a lot better, as I'm sure some of you would want to. And I want you to take away something today. When you talk about getting into the tech ecosystem as a data analyst, as a data scientist, as a business analyst, it is always competence over credentials. All right? Your credentials are always at the back burner. I have a BSc in this. I have a master's in this. I have this certification. I have that certification. It is always at the back burner. What is in front of you and what the recruiters want to see from you is your competence. And your competence comprises of two key factors: your skills, number one, and your experience, number two. All right. So that should be the focus of everybody who wants to transition into the tech ecosystem. And of course, another particular aspect of this article that you'd like to read, this is the link to the article. And when you receive the slides, you'd have access to these links and to all the materials we'll be sharing today. Now, skill-based hires are also more loyal to their employers. So people hired because of their skills tend to be more loyal. At least they stay 9% longer than other employees hired based on their education and so on and so forth. So employers today are starting to see that education really doesn't play a major role in somebody doing the job. Certifications don't play a major role in somebody doing the job. Because guess what? Today, people write certifications for others. Unfortunately, that's what happens. And recruiters know this. Employers know this. All right? And I would ask you a question. Now, imagine yourself, as a CEO of a company or as the head of HR or the head of people and organization in a particular organization. I want you to answer this question. Who would you hire? You want to hire, let's take, for example, you want to hire a data engineer, all right? Who would you hire? Would you hire somebody with a certification or somebody with the skills and experience on that particular role? I want to get your feedback. Just type it into the chat. You want to hire somebody, all right, to fill in a data engineering role. Would you hire somebody who presents a certification to you, or would you hire somebody who has the skills? You can see the person's skill sets, and you can also see the person's track record in terms of experience. So type into the chat. I want to get a whole lot of feedback. I want to see what you think about this topic before we move a little bit deeper into it. Skills and experience. A lot of people are saying skills and experience. Natasha says skills and experience. Julie says somebody with skills and experience, skills and experience, skills and experience. That's interesting. Okay, that's very, very interesting, because a lot of people, what they do is, I've seen this a lot of times. It happens. A lot of people go to get the certification. They put it on their CV. They put it, beside their title on LinkedIn, beside their name. Okay, my name is Adeza Suleiman. They put, so many certifications, and thinking that if that's something that will get you the job. Most of the time, it doesn't. Recruiters want somebody that has the skills and also has the experience, that the person has done it before. They've done it for a particular organization, and there is proof that they have done it. All right? Nobody cares about your certification. Like I said earlier, unfortunately today, recruiters know that people write certification exams for other people, all right, which is very bad in itself. So how do I even trust that whatever you put in front of me in terms of your certification, that you can actually do those things, or you even wrote the exams yourself? Every employer would want somebody that will do the job on day one. The day you start, they want to ensure that you can do the job. Yes, typically what happens is you have an onboarding, exercise. You have maybe a month or thereabouts where you go through some rudiments, some training within the organization. But the expectation is, if you're expected to do the job on the first day, you should be able to do the job. Every recruiter wants this to happen. Like I mentioned earlier, recruiters know that certifications are not a measure of expertise. It's also not a measure of how good you are or if you've done this before. It's simply an exam that anybody can prepare for that exam and pass. So examinations have never been a good predictor of performance. That you've done well in an exam does not mean that you have the skills and the capacity to perform on that role. And that's the reason why during interviews, nobody asks you, oh, tell me about how difficult your exam was. How many times did you sit for this particular certification to pass? Nobody cares about that. You're going to get questions around, tell me about a time or describe an end-to-end project where you worked on a machine learning project and tell me how you selected your machine learning algorithms. All right. And this is where a recruiter wants to know. As a data scientist, you've leveraged different machine learning models or machine learning algorithms. Tell me about a time. Give me an end-to-end project that you have worked on, and also explain how you selected your machine learning algorithms. These are called competency-based questions. And in any interview, competency-based questions carries the highest marks because these are the questions that will get you to start to talk about your experience. Okay, you start to explain how you have done this before, where you did it, what the result was, what you as an individual actually did on this particular project. As a business analyst, you get questions like, can you tell me about a time you had to manage situations where stakeholders had conflicting requirements? Can you give me an example of how you handled this in the past? These are the type of questions you get from interviews, and they are called competency-based questions. All right? Competency-based questions. And these are questions that will test your competence, how good you are. Talk about your experience. Walk me through the projects you have been able to accomplish, and so on and so forth. Like I mentioned earlier, nobody, and this is coming from years of experience within the space. I've worked in the UK, I've lived in the UK, currently in Canada, worked for organizations in the US. While I was in Nigeria working remotely, there was no time, no single instance was I ever asked, what was your first degree? What certifications do you have? Do you have a master's? Nobody bloody cares. What the recruiters want from you is, can I see your portfolio? Show me the type of projects you have worked on. You said you are good with Power BI. Can I see the Power BI dashboard you have built? If I give you a case study today, can you work on that case study, do a presentation to me, leveraging a particular skill that you have on your CV? All right? Walk me through a time you did something fantastic. Why should I hire you? Are you somebody that is an achiever? Are you somebody that, gets the job done? Those are the type of things and the type of characteristics that employers want to get out of you. All right. So it's always important, like I said, one phrase you want to take out of today's session is what? Competence over credentials. Every single day, anytime, except you don't want to move into the tech ecosystem, because the tech ecosystem is skill-based. You have to showcase that you have the skills. You'll be giving case studies. You'd have to do presentations most of the time during the recruitment exercise. All right. So we've talked about the skills. We've talked about experience. We've talked about so many things. If tech recruiters don't care about your certifications, what they care about are your skills and your experience. Now, I am new into the space. Let's assume we take somebody who has never done this before. They are new, or a recent graduate. How do I show experience? All right. How do I even show a recruiter that I have the skills so that they can invite me for an interview? Of course, when you get an interview, that's where you can start to showcase that you've done this before. When you're asked questions, you can start to answer those questions effectively. So how do you get the skills and experience? And this is where we get very practical about how these things are done. Okay. I'm just checking through the chat if we have any questions before I dive into the next phase. Somebody's being sarcastic. He says, I'm in Nigeria, we employ our cousins or get the employee to pay for the job. Of course, that's not the standard practice. That's not what you expect. That's an anomaly. You don't expect that to happen across organizations. Okay. The Bowery King is saying, but sir, we can also, I think you want to say we can also employ the one with certification and be on internship. Okay. So this is another very wrong impression. I would say very wrong ideology that has also pervaded the migrant community. All right. The migrant community, people moving from Africa to the UK, to the US, to Canada, and so many other countries. One thing I've noticed about them is there is this inferiority complex that I'm not good enough. I want to intern with you. I want you to employ me, but don't employ me to do the job. Employ me to learn. Employ me to intern. If you do this, you would stay for years before you get a role or you get a job. Because guess what? The same set of skills that you deploy when you intern are the same set of skills you deploy on the real job itself. So never ask for internship. If you talk to any Tenalytics participants, anybody who has gone through Tenalytics, they'll tell you, Adeza, Efemena, any Tenalytics experts will tell you that you never apply for internships, okay? Because it's beneath you, it's below you. All the things you know, all the skills you've learned are enough for you to get the real job and do the main job. So why ask for internship? Okay, so that's a very wrong ideology. You never want to do that. And you start to get confident in your skills when you have mentors that can talk you away or talk you out of that type of mindset that I must always go for an internship. I must, want to learn on the job. The moment you tell a recruiter in the UK, for example, that, oh, I want to get a job, I want to, work with you because I want to learn on the job, just know that you're never going to get that job. The moment you make that statement that you want to learn on the job, you're never going to get that job because you're not going to learn at our own expense. Nobody wants to hire a liability. So yes, most of the time, these organizations would train you. Okay, you'd have to go through some level of training during your onboarding, but they would never, the moment you utter that word, you would never get that job. All right. So you never want to say things like that. Okay. So how do you get the skills and experience? What must you do? And I'll break it down into 5 key areas of what you must do. And I'll show you practically how this would, position you for success when you start to apply to jobs. Now, as somebody transitioning into the tech ecosystem, you don't have experience, you've never done things before. What do you do? The first thing, which is the most important, which is a given, every employer expects that you must have the skill and you must be good using that particular skill. So you must learn the skills. That's number 1. All right. So you want to learn the skills and be so good at it that recruiters would see that, no, he's very good, she's very good. All right. And when you are learning, because people learn using different platforms, and I'm opposed to learning using some certain type of platforms. For example, like YouTube. All right. Self-paced online sessions, 100% self-paced online sessions are very dangerous for somebody transitioning newly into the space. And the reason why I say this is because you don't have that mentorship experience. You don't have somebody to guide you, tell you where you are making mistakes. You've learned all the skills, which is the technical parts of things. The technical part is good. It's a given. You must have this, but you must have more than the technical skills to land a job. All right. So once you've learned the skill, you are very good at it. Let's take business analysis, for example. You know how to use Excel, Power BI, SQL. You know how to elicit information and requirements. You know how to write user stories, a business case. You know your business requirements, fundamentals. You have all these particular skills. The next thing for you to do is to join a project-based learning platform. Now, I'm emphasizing on the project-based learning platform. Like Tenalytics, for example, we are project-based. And why is this important? Why is it important for you to learn in a project-based environment? It's very important because the more projects you work on, the more you enhance and hone your skills in a particular area. Now, what is project-based learning? Project-based learning is you've learned something in theory, you understand the principles, the concepts. You must apply that on a real-world project. So if you find yourself as a business analyst on the job today, how do I gather requirements? All right. So in this instance, you have a project that will be presented to you, and you and a couple of other, colleagues on the same program would work together to solve that problem, applying the skills you have learned on real world projects. And this is what we call project-based learning. All right. Very, very important. Now, once you have joined a project-based learning platform like Tenalytics, all right, you'd build a lot of projects, work on a lot of projects, real-life projects, and the next thing for you is to add to the projects you've worked on. So the projects must be quality projects, and you must always share them online. All right, learning in public, you must always share them online. So you've worked on a project, you must work, we always advise minimum 30 projects. So you're a data analyst, for example, you must have a minimum of 30 projects in your portfolio. You're a data scientist, the same thing. You must have a minimum of 30 projects in your portfolio. So over the duration of your program for 3 to 4 months, you would have worked on a minimum of 25 projects. If you work at Tenalytics, if you learn with Tenalytics, and there are so many other platforms that you can learn and work on projects. For example, Kaggle, Our World in Data, and so many others. But I just use these two, Kaggle and Our World in Data. And I'll show you practically. Like I said, I'm going to make it as practical as possible. So I'm transitioning into data analytics. I've worked on projects while I was learning at Tenalytics, but then I also want to build more projects to add to my portfolio. How do I do it? How do I get data sets? Somebody's saying they can't hear me. Priscilla, please, like I said earlier, just let me know if at any point I have any glitch. All right. And
I can still hear you.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so what I'm going to show you very quickly is how do you build projects from Kaggle or Our World in Data in less than 5 minutes, and we'll continue with our session. So take these 2 points before we leave this slide. The first point is you must get the skills. If you're a business analyst, you must have the business analysis skills. What does a business analyst, what skills must a business analyst have? A data scientist, a data engineer, a financial analyst, a HR analyst, you must have the skill. That's number one. All right. Number two is you must work on quality projects and you must document those projects and share them online. So if I go to your LinkedIn profile, I want to see that you want to transition into business analysis, or you want to transition to become a Scrum Master. I must see the type of projects you have worked on, where you talked about what you did. You've also talked about the insights and the particular steps, the approach you took, and the reason for taking those approach. So it's important because I'll be able to see that you're a subject matter expert. You have some level of depth of the skills required to play within that particular role. All right. But let me show you something very quickly in less than 5 minutes. How do you build projects on your own beyond all the things you would learn in class? You'd work with us while we help you build 25 projects. Okay. And I'm going to share. Let's get into Kaggle. I'll show you Kaggle, and you can use that as a basis really for any other platform that you want to leverage. Okay. So one thing you want to do, and one thing we provide you with, are resources. Ton of resources available. Okay, we provide you with tons and tons of resources available across different platforms. Okay, so let's go to Kaggle. Okay, kaggle.com/datasets. That's I would say one very fantastic resource where you can get different data sets from. And I'm going to post that in the chat for those who would want to, get that afterwards. But again, like I said earlier, you'd also have this available on the slide, and you can always come here. Okay, once you receive the slides, you have the link on the slides, and you can always access the link. So this is kaggle.com/dataset. Now remember, before you can download any data from here, you must, register. Okay, it's free, but you have to register. All right, you create a username, create a password, and so on. Now I'm a data analyst, and I want to work on. I'm a data analyst, and I want to transition into the health sector. Okay, maybe I'm a care worker in the UK or I'm a care worker in Canada, but I still want to work in the health sector. But I want to work in the health sector as a data analyst, not as a care worker anymore. How can I work on health-related projects? And this is where you gain experience by working on projects. Now, remember, we are talking about how to get experience and how to get the skills. You get the skills by joining a project-based learning platform like Tenalytics, all right? Secondly, how do you start to build experience? You build experience by working on projects. You're going to work on minimum of 25 projects when you train with us at Tenalytics. But how do you work on more projects? Okay, now all I need to do, I want to work on a health-related project so that I can put that, I can add that to my portfolio. I'll just come to the search over here and I'll search for health. Let's just type health. You can search for different things, okay? You can search for health, you can search for heart disease, you can search for alcohol consumption, depending on the specific area you want to get data on. But let me just do a search on health, okay? Now, you'd see different, work that have been done by different people, which also has the data sets. Okay, so fetal health classification, mental health, deep health, predicting fetal health, student mental health, data analysis. So let's assume we are interested in student health, project. We want to work on a project about student health, or mental health, as the case might be. Mental health at the workplace sounds interesting. Okay, I click on this particular mental health, and it brings up, what has been done so far with regards to this particular topic. All right, so I can see mental health at the workplace. I can see what somebody has done on this particular project before. Okay, now I can replicate this, get the data on this, and also work on it myself. Okay, now this is just one example. Now let's look at the mental health. Okay, let's look at the mental health. I click on mental health, and what I want to do is I want to replicate the same thing, but this time around I want to do it by using Excel or by using Power BI or a different other tool, maybe SQL or something. And this is something somebody has done that shows mental health, EDA, and so on and so forth. So what I want to do is to look for where I have the data set. Okay, I look for where I have the data set if the data is available, but I can't see this person putting the data anywhere here. So let's assume I click on mental health, and let this take me to the first page where I can get the data itself, and I can see the data sets, okay, about the data set. Now, like I mentioned earlier, before you can download any data set from here, you need to, register, all right? So I come in here and I click on download, okay? And of course, because I've registered on Kaggle, I can download any data set that I want, and it has downloaded it for me. Now I'm going to open this in my downloads, and I'll show you very quickly how you can work on the same type of project, okay? Let me extract the zipped folder, and I'll show you the data I just downloaded before we start to do any work on it eventually. So that's the folder I just downloaded from Kaggle. I'll open it up and I can see all the different data sets. I have data sets on mental illness prevalence, budding disease from each mental illness, Number 3, I have adult population covered in primary data on prevalence of major depressions. So this particular data set or the particular analysis was done using different data sets. We can see about 6 different data sets or 7 data sets. All right. I can start to work on each of these data sets to build my own analysis. But again, I'm not an expert yet because I'm still building my portfolio. So how do I start? And you can leverage technologies like ChatGPT, and I'll show you very quickly. Okay, so let's start with the very first data, which is mental illness prevalence. I open this up and it opens up on Excel. Like I said, I'm going to do this very fast because we have quite a number of things to cover. Okay, I open this up on Excel and it shows me what the data looks like. Okay, and I'll walk us through the data very quickly. You have the entity, which you have the countries, you have the codes for the countries, the year, and you have the type of diseases. Schizophrenia. All right, you can see that schizophrenia, sex is both, which is male and female. And you have the prevalence of schizophrenia across Afghanistan, for example, from 1990 till 2019. So you have different countries, Albania, and so on and so forth. All right. So you have depressive orders, which is another type of disease. Okay. You have anxiety disorders. You have so many different, mental health related issues. But how do I even start my analysis? I have this data. I want to work on a project. I'm not a health professional. So I really don't know what to analyze because I'm not a healthcare professional. I'm just a data analyst. And this is where you leverage AI embedded tools. All right. How do you do this? Very simple. I'm going to close from here. I'll go to, I'm going to open up ChatGPT. All right. Some of you have this, some of you don't. If you don't have or you've never used ChatGPT, you want to ensure that you know how to use ChatGPT, which is one of the things you learn with us at 10Analytics, irrespective of the program. ChatGPT is a part of it. All right. So now I have my data. And if you have ChatGPT 4, fantastic. That's the paid version of ChatGPT. You have to pay to use ChatGPT 4. Now, 3.5 is free and everybody can use 3.5. Now, with ChatGPT 4, you can upload data set. You see that data I downloaded? I can upload it directly. But let me assume I can't upload. I don't have ChatGPT 4. I have the free version, which most of you would have. All I need to do is I'm going to open up my data, all right? And I would copy just the first, maybe the first 10 rows. I'll copy the first 10 rows, including the header of my data set. Okay, I'll copy the header and the first 10 rows. Control C to copy. Okay, Control C, I'll copy the first 10 rows and I'll go back to ChatGPT and I'm going to tell ChatGPT, I want you to act as a data analyst. All right, I want you to act as a data analyst. I will provide you with sample data and I want you to give me 5 insights that I can generate or I can extract from this data set. Okay, so I'm simply telling ChatGPT that I want you to act as a data analyst. I want to provide you with a sample data and I want you to give me 5 insights that I can extract from these data sets. Wait until I provide you with the data set. Okay, and then I send this to ChatGPT. All right, and ChatGPT will respond, always very positive. Absolutely. I'm ready to assist you as a data analyst. Please go ahead and provide the data you would like me to analyze, and I'll do my best to extract valuable insights from it. So remember, I have copied the first 10 rows of this data set. I'll simply just come in here and paste, Control V. I don't need to do anything else. I'm just going to paste the data the way I copied. All right, and then I'll send it to ChatGPT. Okay, and let's see what ChatGPT would give to us. Now, this is how you build experience when you don't have experience in a particular sector. You must work on projects and build your portfolio. You can't get a job if you don't do this. So ChatGPT is telling us, thank you for providing the data set. Based on the initial look, it appears to contain data about share of population, this and that. To proceed with detailed analysis, could you please specify the total number of years included in the data set, whether the data set includes other countries? The data set includes other countries and, several years. Okay, I just want you to provide me with possible insights that I can extract from this data. Okay, so ChatGPT would, interact with you and it would ask you questions and you have to provide answers so that it can give you the right type of solutions that you want. So it was asking me, I can only see one particular country, and that's because I copied just the first 10 rows, and it can only see some particular years. So are there more years? Do you also have more countries? ChatGPT was asking, and I simply said yes. But I want you to, there are several years, there are other countries, but I want you to just give me the insights I can get, possible insights. And you have 5 ChatGPT has provided for you. All right. Number 1, show the trend over time in specific orders with explanation. So ChatGPT is saying that analyze how the prevalence of each mental health has changed over time in a given country or globally. Now, remember at the beginning, we really didn't know what to do, but ChatGPT is telling us, show a trend. For example, schizophrenia from 1990 to 2019, has it increased or decreased across different countries? That's simply what ChatGPT is saying we should do, number 1. Number 2, do a comparative analysis between countries. So you are a Nigerian, you are a Ghanaian, you are a South African, take different countries and compare. Has Nigeria had an increase or decrease over the years in a particular mental health related disease compared to Ghana, compared to Benin Republic, and so many other countries around the same region in West Africa? All right. ChatGPT is also saying do a correlation with socioeconomic or health indicators, age standardized trends, gender-based analysis. And ChatGPT has given us examples, because most of the problems people have when they go on platforms like Kaggle, they get the data sets, but because the data does not come with questions for them to answer, they struggle to answer questions from the data set. But why should you struggle when you have ChatGPT? Okay, and this is just giving you a practical example of how you can get this done. Of course, there are so many different factors that play into how well your analysis would pan out eventually. However, this is just a brief session and we can't go into more, the nitty-gritty of what specifics that you'd have to do to get the best possible outcome. So that's answering question number 1 and 2. You must learn the skill. You must have projects to add to your portfolio. Now, number 3, once you've had your projects, you must build a portfolio. What's a portfolio? Imagine you go to a tailor, you go to a fashion designer, you go to a baker who does cake for weddings and so on and so forth. They'll show you a catalog. They'll show you, samples of what they've done before. You as a tech professional, as a data scientist, as a business analyst, as a data analyst, as a data engineer, you must have a portfolio to show proof of work that you've done this before and proof of experience. All right. And I'll show you very quickly 2 portfolios of 2 of our alumni. All right. What a portfolio should look like. Because guess what? Your CV must have your portfolio on it. It must have the link to your portfolio. So once your CV has passed the ATS, it's good enough to invite you for an interview. the recruiters would want to do a second check, which is, I want to see the depth of your knowledge. I want to analyze and see the type of projects you have worked on. How good are they? All right. Now we're going to look at a business analyst portfolio that was built by Lemuel. Lemuel is a fantastic lady who joined our business analysis program. And this is one of the things we help you do across all our programs. You build a portfolio. All right. And we also look at Victoria, who is a data analyst, completed our data analytics program with us at Tenalytics. We'll look at their portfolios. All right. Let's start with Lemuel, who is a business analyst. So clicking on Lemuel's link, it takes you to a portfolio that is professional. So you're going to create your own website. You create your own portfolio that would warehouse all the projects you have worked on. So any recruiter that comes here and looks at Lemuel's projects, okay, these are my major projects. One of the things you do during the business analysis program, you're going to work on a canteen ordering system. Okay, you would work together in groups and you will build a cutting-edge solution where employees don't have to stand in a queue. They don't have to do things manually. You as a business analyst would manage the project to build an ordering system for the canteen. And this was one of the projects Lemuel worked on. You can see she talked about the project properly designed. And if you click on Explore the Unilever project, it takes you to where the project has been warehoused. You can see the document of how it was built. Lemuel was in a group called Team SDLC. Okay, and she has the details of the project, what they did, their business case, what it looked like, and the stakeholders they worked with, the stakeholder analysis, how they were able to analyze their stakeholders, the RACI matrix, the SWOT analysis they performed, what were the front-end features of that particular solution, the back-end features, what the process looks like, the as-is process, which is the current process, and what the future process looked like, the sprint planning, and so many other things that it had to do. All right. And this is one project that Lemuel has to showcase. And this is what the recruiters would also look at because they want to see that you've done it before. One other project you'd work on as a business analyst is the British Airways project. So Lemuel also talked about this project in her portfolio. All right. So I'm going to click on Explore the British Airways project, and you'd see what Lemuel was able to do as well. Okay. So from the data sets to the presentations to the recommendations she has, everything properly documented and in her portfolio. Recruiters want to see this from you. Okay. So enough of Lemuel. Let's go to, so you can see her project, so many projects. She has a project, the Sunshine Resort case study, which is a case study you'd work on when you're a business analyst with Tenalytics, ABC Retail, Max Corporations, and so on and so forth. All right. But let's check out Victoria's project. Okay. You'd see that it's a similar type of portfolio. And these are the type of portfolios you build when you work with us, because this is your proof that you've used Power BI before. This is your proof that you've used Excel. You are good with this particular skill and so on and so forth. So this is Victoria's project. All right. She worked on a particular project called the Hospital ER Visit Analysis. All right. Now, she talked about a bit the overview. And if you want to see the details, you click here to see the details of this particular project. Okay. It's a Tableau project, so it takes you to the Tableau public space. So any recruiter can interact with these projects prepared by who? By Victoria Uchemadu. Okay, so I can click on this and the entire project would what? Interact. It's interactive. And for those of you that follow us, you know how important it is for your portfolio to be interactive. All right, so this is what Victoria has been able to build. And she has that on her portfolio. So it is what? Very practical. It is, I can see it is visible. And I can see that this is very good. Victoria built this using what? Tableau. And it is online. It's available to anybody who has the same link. So when you receive the slides today, click on the link and interact with some of the projects that you have. Okay. This is another project called the Redux Airline Flight Analysis on Excel. All right, Express Tech food delivery using Tableau. Zenith Electronics, analysis using SQL, Nestle product analysis using Power BI. So these are the type of projects you'd work on. Let's check the SQL case study. We click on this. Sorry, I think I clicked on something else. Okay, so that's not opening for some reason. Let's check the Nestle. All right, so maybe Victoria has not properly, I think she has not properly connected the links to some of the projects. Let me click on check it out, see here. All right, so I click on see here, I think it opens it up, okay? So you can see her, her codes, the codes she has written for the different projects she has worked on. This is the Zenith SQL query. If I click on the Nestle, check it out, that brings it up, okay? So you can see her dashboard she built using what? Excel or Power BI, as the case might be. So you have properly documented projects that you have worked on. So this is why your projects are very, very important. You're not going to go to an interview, you're not going to have a CV, and you don't have proof that you've done something before. Nobody will take you seriously, and you will not land that job. Tech is skill-based. It is always competence over what? Credentials. Now, number 4, I said we have 5, things you have to do. Number 4 is you must join a learning platform that provides you with internship. You're not going to apply to jobs and ask for internships. Never do that, please. If you've been doing it before, stop it. Okay, stop it. If you've been doing it before, stop it. So that's, I would say, it's a mindset that, lowers you. And this is when you have gotten number 1. You've done number 1, you've done number 2, you've done number 3. Never ask for internship if you have 1 to 3. If you don't have 1 to 3, you can keep on begging for internships. All right. But if you have 1 to 3, never ask for internships, because that would minimize all the skills you have, and people would doubt you. You're asking for an internship and you say you are good with Excel, you have the skills in Power BI, you have Tableau, you have this, you have that. Why are you asking for an internship? All right. So when you join a particular platform to learn, ensure that that learning platform also provides you with internship. So you're not going to go out there to ask for internship. You would have done your internship while you were learning. All right. So this is also very important. And the internship gives you opportunity to work in groups. You get to work in cross-functional teams where you work, the data analyst works with the data scientist, works with the data engineer. So it's a cross-functional collaboration. All right. And also ensure that whatever platform the internship you join can provide you with references. And this is one thing that has helped so many of our participants, which is you apply to a job, you do very well during the interview, you get an offer. The next thing they would ask from you is to provide a reference. Okay, so can you get a reference from that same platform that has given you internship? If you can't, then it's a big problem, because recruiters want to see that you have somebody that can vouch for you, or you have a reputable organization that can vouch for you, that you have the skills in business analysis or in data analytics, or as a Scrum Master, as a cybersecurity analyst, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's very important. And that's one of the, I would say we do our best work in that area at Tenalytics. We provide you with a reference, recommendations, and so on and so forth. Lastly is hackathons. I've had my fair share of hackathons, all right? And this is where you test your skills against your contemporaries across the globe. Healthy competitions. Tenalytics, organizes hackathons at least twice a year. But join other hackathons, all right? When you see hackathons available, competition available, don't feel too big. Okay, remember, you are the one that wants to transition into that career path. So you should be able to say that I participated in this hackathon. I got invited for a presentation. I got to the semi-final stage, the quarter-final stage, or I worked on this project. You talk about what you did during the hackathon. It shows that you have a competitive spirit, number 1. Secondly, it also shows that you have the drive to compete, across the globe. And you've also been able to get some level of depth in some certain areas of the skills that you have. So these are the 5 key things that I feel if you can do, you will be able to showcase to every recruiter. And this has helped our participants. Tenalytics organizes something every year. We call it the Alumni Hackathon Sessions. And this is exclusive to just the Tenalytics alumni. All right, people that are currently in the program, people that have completed the program, they come together and they compete by testing their skills. Okay, so before I move on to the next phase of our session today, I'm going to, check the charts to see if we have some questions. All right, to see we have some questions. DM is saying, Usoro is saying, people have gone far and I'm yet to do on your mark. It's always never too late. Usoro, you always want to start as soon as you have that, drive to get started. Okay. All right. I'm going to check more questions. Lemuel is a business analyst student. Lemuel is an alumnus. She completed her program sometime, I think, in October or November 2023, about a few months ago. She completed her program. All right. Question, using ChatGPT 4, is it now updated? ChatGPT 4 is the best thing you can ever engage yourself with. You see that data I downloaded and I copied. With ChatGPT 4, I don't need to copy. I can upload it. Okay. With ChatGPT 4, all I need to do is just to upload. All right. All I need to do is come here. You can see the attach button. So first of all, before I even go to the attach button, okay, let's just go there. All right. I click on the attach button. I go to my downloads. I go to that folder and I can simply just upload the data straight up into ChatGPT. I don't need to copy. And you can only do this with ChatGPT 4. All right. And the moment I send it, it's going to start talking about the data that I have. Let me just send it without any prompts. Okay. Without any prompts. It would start to talk about the data types, the columns, the attributes, and you can see that. How do you want me to help you with this particular file? Okay, so this is ChatGPT 4. It does an amazing work. As a data analyst today, this makes life a lot easier for you. All right, now looking at the 5 skills or the 5 things you need to do to gain work experience and to also get the skills. Have you learned something new today? If you've learned something new, just type in a yes into the chat. Just type in a yes into the chat. Okay, just type in a yes. Absolutely fantastic. All right. So again, for us, what we always do or what we like to do is we provide you with all the information that you need. Everything will then be left in your own, will be left to you to make the decisions and get your journey started. If you don't do any of these 5, you'd find it very difficult to break into tech. Very, very difficult. Because like I said earlier, tech is very skill-based. It is always competence over credentials. So everything that you can do to showcase that you have competence, please do. All right. And maybe before we wrap up today, I'll show you what Lemuel's LinkedIn profile looks like. So you also have, a sense of some of the things you have to do beyond just this. Like I said, this is summarizing everything into 5. When you break it down, you have a little bit more. Okay. For example, your portfolio, your projects should also be on LinkedIn. All right. Your profile should also showcase the profile of a business analyst or a data analyst or the career path you're trying to transition into. Okay. But that's breaking things down into the nitty-gritty. Okay. Now, tech is very broad. Tech is very, very broad. The question is, where are the opportunities? Now, for us at Tenalytics, what we've done, and this would go on to answer all the questions around, oh, tell me what a data analyst does. Tell me what a business analyst does. Tell me what a Scrum Master does, and so on. This would go to answering those questions. Where are the opportunities? Where should I transition to? If I want to transition today, what career path should I choose? Now, in choosing a career path, it's very important that you consider one major factor, which is there a demand for this particular career? Is there a demand for it? So I'm in Canada, I'm trying to get a job, but I want to get a job in a particular, I want to transition or pivot to a particular role. Are there opportunities? These are the questions you must ask yourself. So what we've done at Tenalytics is we've done analysis across different job boards, showing what recruiters and companies want today, the roles they are looking for, and where the projections would be, where the opportunities would be. Now, we also validated this analysis with the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs reports. Okay? And anybody who can get their hands on it, please do. I'll probably share the link as well on my slide so that you have access to that. The World Economic Forum Future of Jobs reports. Now, this particular report would show you, you have two separate columns. One column shows you the jobs that would grow in demand and the jobs that will decline in demand in the next 5 to 10 years. And one of the roles you'd find in the jobs that will decline, surprisingly, I was surprised myself. Okay, I was surprised myself when I saw it. One of them is accounting. Okay, accounting. Okay, audit. You also have product management, which, like I said, I was very, very shocked. These three were the ones that shocked me the most. So are you telling me that as an accountant, my career would decline in the next 5 to 10 years? And the answer is yes, because it's logical. So an accountant who hasn't, I would say added more value or give more value would struggle in the world of automation, in the world of AI today. All right. So as an accountant, you want to add skills that would enable you perform data-related analysis and so on and so forth. If I'm a product manager, what else can I add to this to position me for the jobs available in the nearest future? So these are the questions you must ask yourself. So we looked at this and we came up with 8 different career paths. Number 1 is the business analyst. Number 2, the data analyst. Number 3, the financial analyst, the HR analyst, the data scientist, the Scrum Master, the data engineer, and the cybersecurity analyst. So these are the 8 career paths that if you find yourself in any of these career paths, you would find yourself getting a job in the shortest time possible because of the demand for these roles across the different economies. You don't have to be in one particular region to have access to these jobs. And the salaries are also phenomenal. All right. When you look at the data scientists, you start to see the 6 figures, the cybersecurity, you start to see the 6 figures as well. Same with the data engineer, 6 figures. And these are the top, I would say, more specialized roles as a cybersecurity analyst, as a data engineer, and so on and so forth. But even as a business analyst in the US, in Canada, in the UK, you get an absolutely fantastic salary on the average. All right. So you have a career path that is high in demand. You have a career path that also pays you phenomenal salaries across the major economies. So the question is, what do I need to learn? Is product management the same as project management? No, they are different. Project management is a skill that will grow in demand. Project management is a skill that will grow in demand. All right, but not just your conventional project management. The project management that would grow in demand is project managers that can manage projects in the tech ecosystem, which simply means project managers that leverages the agile methodology. And who are the project managers that leverage the agile methodology? These are the Scrum Masters. All right. A typical project manager would usually work with the waterfall. You have 2 major methodologies in project management, waterfall and agile. The Scrum Masters are the ones that leverage, the agile methodology. And these are the people that get jobs in the tech ecosystem. So when you look at project management as a career path that would grow, you also have to dissect it into specifics. All right, because tech is where the world is today, is where the world would be tomorrow. So if you key into the tech ecosystem, you can do no wrong keying into the tech ecosystem. All right. So now that we've seen the different career paths, I want to share some success stories before we move into the explanations, because what does a data analyst do? a cybersecurity analyst, what do they do? So that you can start to take decisions that, oh, I like this career path. I would like to be here. Okay, so we've had so many participants across different programs that have done amazing stuff. They've gone ahead to join the Tenalytics program. They've gotten jobs across different regions. Ini, for example, Ini completed his program in January. He joined us in October, completed in January, and he was able to land a job that same January, just a few weeks ago. Last month in January, he landed a job. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Ini's experience with us. Ini was a very senior person where he worked. All right. He wasn't out of work. He already had a job. He was very senior, but he really didn't have the confidence to sell himself. He didn't have the confidence to, to project his skills so that he can ask for more. And this is one thing we kill that when you get into Tenalytics. There is nothing like inferiority complex. There is nothing like the imposter syndrome. All right. We work with you as mentors to ensure that we bring out that confidence in you. And by doing this alone during the mentorship sessions, Ini was able to land a job as a CEO. So he went to he had to revamp his CV based on all the things we had taught and we had shown him how to do, and to also bring out that confidence in Ini. So he attended interviews and eventually he did a lot better than they expected. And he got the job as a CEO for a tech company. And I'll show you what Ini sent to us. He sent us a very long message. You know those messages on WhatsApp that you would read it, you click on read more, you'd read it, you click on read more again. He sent us a very long message, talking about how the program helped him. And I'll share that with you. Efe also joined us last year in April 2023, completed our training in July, got a job in October as a business analyst. All right, you have Nathaniel, who got a job as a business analyst, joined us in July, completed in October, got the job in December as a business analyst. You have Kende. Kende joined, she's currently working with the NHS in Southampton. She's an R&D specialist data analyst. She joined us in April, completed in July, got the job in October, just like Efe. And this is the very long message Ini wrote to us. And there are so many highlights. I'm not going to bore you with reading all the article, okay? But one of the things I want you to notice, like I said earlier, Tenalytics, thank you, Tenalytics, for what? Bringing out the ginger in me. Okay, so the mentorship sessions every Thursday shaped my mind towards success. And these are the things we do with you. Because some of you come to us thinking that when I've learned all these things, I start to go ask for internships. No, you don't. You ask for the job, not the internship. All right. So when you get the slide, I want you to read what Ini has to say. You have Toyin. Toyin got a job as a benefits analyst with full visa sponsorship in the UK after completing our data analytics. You have Oluwatosin, who I'm sure for those that joined at the beginning, you'd have heard Oluwatosin in the testimonial talking about how he got a job as a fraud analyst, where we worked with him, we prepared him for his interviews. He currently works as a fraud analyst after completing our data analytics program. You have Olubemi, who got a job in Canada, Edmonton, where he currently works as a solutions analyst with one of the largest insurance companies in Canada. You have Benga, who is in Poland, who works as a business data analyst after completing our data analytics. You have Abigail. I love to share Abigail's story, and I'm going to play Abigail's video for you. Why? Because Abigail was a care worker in Canada. She used to work in care. All right. People call it the survival jobs. Oh, I have to do the survival job so I can get money to take care of my expenses until I get a job. But most people at the end of the day, they get stuck on the survival jobs. All right. So Abigail didn't get stuck. She joined the program, all right, joined our business analysis program. And today, Abigail works with the government of Canada in Alberta as a business analyst. That's not the amazing part. The amazing part is Abigail supervises 2 people. She has direct reports. And this is Abigail, who has never worked as a business analyst before. And this is the importance of learning in a project-based environment. You work on projects, and that gives you all the experience that you need. But I want you to hear from Abigail yourself. It's a 2 minutes, 40 something second video, or less than 3 minutes anyways. And I want you to listen to Abigail, listen to her story yourself on how she was able to transition in Canada with Tenalytics, getting a job as a business analyst. And then I'll come back, walk you through all the different programs and the costs of the programs for those of you who'd be getting your journey started with us. Remember, we have an amazing discount for you. All right. So let's listen to Abigail. I'm going to play Abigail's video. It's on YouTube, on Tenalytics YouTube, just for those who would also want to go back there to listen again. All right. So let's click and listen to Abigail.
So what is ClickUp? ClickUp is an all-in-one.
Sorry, I'll let the ads play and then would listen to Abigail. Okay.
My name is Abigail Garga, and I want to talk about my journey with Tenalytics and how it has helped me to ace my interview and eventually land that dream job that we always wanted. So my training with Tenalytics has transformed my career as a business analyst. They have coached me really well, thoroughly, with hands-on projects, and the instructors are usually super awesome. Topics that are covered are usually real-life experience with a hands-on project where you do as a team, where you do as individual. There's always a one-on-one session if you want. Interview preparation, they use real-life experience. They coach you on interview and they tell you what you are doing right and what you are doing wrong and where you need to improve and where you are perfect, and all of that. I'm recommending Tenalytics to all my friends, to anyone watching this video. Please don't think about it twice when you just try and attend one of these sessions. It will open your mind. It will give you more ideas on what it is all about. Don't be scared. It was working with Tenalytics that gave me the confidence to apply for some job roles that I naturally wouldn't apply, because I feel those job roles are usually too big for me. Like, the name sounds so big, and Tenalytics makes me understand that you can do it as a business analyst. We all got the idea. So I am 100% recommending Tenalytics to anyone that has thought about being a business analyst, a data analyst, or all the analysts that they coach you on. You won't have regret in it. You will come to thank me later. I am happy I joined Tenalytics. They help you develop your user stories on how to use scenario, on how to use real life experience to answer your interview questions, which is usually what helps you to ace your interview. I am so happy I joined Tenalytics, and I wouldn't have been where I am today without the coaching and help of Tenalytics. I personally would want to thank the coordinator. He's very good at doing his job. His name is Ubong. Please disturb Ubong on everything you need. Like, he's always there 100%. Any time of the day you call him, he picks. It doesn't matter. He's sleeping 2 a.m., 1 a.m. I am really recommending Tenalytics. So guys, join Tenalytics and you won't regret it. And Tenalytics, I personally want to thank you for training me, for building my confidence, and for helping me to understand that there's a BA in every one of us. Thank you guys. Bye.
All right. So that's Abigail. All right. Abigail Garga. You can see her here. That's Abigail Garga. Abigail joined us last year. She got a job and moved. She used to live in Saskatoon in Saskatchewan, Canada. She moved to Edmonton, working with the government of Alberta, the government of Canada, working in Alberta as a business analyst. You heard her yourself. All right. Abigail used to work. She was, very senior back in Nigeria before she moved to Canada. But again, a lot of people get stuck in some type of jobs that ordinarily you would not want to do. All right. But Abigail did not get stuck. She joined the business analysis program, completed it, and she landed a job, interview prep, help during the mentorship sessions. Abigail was always asking questions. So I remember Abigail, and I know her very, very well in terms of her, willingness to always be in class, to ask questions, and so on and so forth. You have Biola, who also works with one of the largest financial giants in the UK. and so many other professionals. I can go on and on and on. Shadi works as a data scientist in the UK. Zainab got a job as a data manager in Nigeria this January 2024. One of the recent, I would say, success stories. You have Bernard. Bernard got a scholarship after we provided a reference and recommendation for him. Ikmat got a job with the NHS, full visa sponsorship in the UK. You have Patience, who works as a data analyst. You have Sunday, who works as a regulatory data analyst in the UK. Chika works as a financial analyst. Akintayo got a job as a CFO, and so on and so forth. All right. When you receive the slides, ensure that you read and watch the success stories. They're absolutely, absolutely phenomenal. Okay, I'm not going to bore you with too many success stories because of time. We have so many things to cover. Sonia works with British American Tobacco in the UK after she completed our HR analytics program. You have Maureen, who works with TELUS. For anybody in Canada, you would know TELUS, a telecommunications giant in Canada. TELUS works with TELUS. Maureen works with TELUS as a HR data analyst after completing our HR analytics program. Olajide works with Stanbic IBTC as a HR analyst. Victor works with, he worked with Hugo in Chicago, Illinois, in the US, working remotely from Nigeria, earning in dollars, spending in Naira. But then he moved to a new role, which is a more senior role as a senior HR business partner, and so many other success stories. Like I said, I would want you to read and learn about these people transition stories and the way Tenalytics was able to help them transition. All right. Now we are moving to the final phase of our session today. And the final phase is where we talk about the different career paths, what you must learn to transition into business analysis, into data analytics, and how much it would also cost for you to make this transition. Okay. Now, before we get into it, if you were inspired by Abigail's story, you listen to Abigail and you were inspired by her, just type into the chat, just type a 1 into the chat. Somebody who was a care worker transitioned into a business analyst. She has never done it before, and she's supervising 2 people. She has 2 direct reports. That's simply absolutely amazing. So just type a 1 into the chat if you were inspired. Abigail's story inspires me too, even though I know Abigail. I worked with Abigail to help her get the job, but then it's an inspiring story. Absolutely. All right. Fantastic. I can see all the ones coming in. So now let's move to the final phase of our session today. And we're going to start with business analysis. So who is a business analyst and what do you do as a business analyst? Every organization or every company has 3 key components: people, processes, and technology. All right. Now, the business analyst is that professional that analyzes the company, analyzes the processes and the stakeholders within the organization and provides solutions to that organization. Now, taking the processes, every company has a process. For those of you that joined our session today, there was a process. You saw maybe an advert or you saw a post on Instagram, on LinkedIn, somewhere. You clicked on that link, you filled the form, you joined a group, a WhatsApp group, or you got an email and you found yourself in this session. From this session, some people would ask more questions, some people would make payments, and then they join the program. All right, that's a process. A business analyst goes into companies, analyzes processes, and finds where you have loopholes, gaps, and inefficiencies. And that business analyst provides recommendations to close those gaps and make the processes more efficient. All right. So if a process, for example, takes about 5 days to get completed, a business analyst would analyze that process. First of all, create something we call the as-is process, which is the process the way it is today, the current process, and then provide solutions, provide recommendations, strategies to make the process faster. So instead of 5 days, can we reduce this to 5 hours. And this is what the to be or the future state. All right. And this is what the business analyst does largely in any organization. And of course, in making processes more efficient and making them automated would require some level of applications to be implemented. So maybe you build some applications or some software. As the business analyst, you would not build the software yourself, but you would manage the project that would lead to the software development. All right. So as a business analyst, you don't just understand processes, you also understand project management. All right. So in a nutshell, the business analyst is that professional that gets into the company, analyzes processes, analyzes the stakeholders, and provides solutions to make those processes more efficient and ensuring that the company is able to achieve its objectives. Now, for any individual to be able to do this, you must have some key sets of skills. And one of the things we add to the business analysis curriculum is the very first module, which is what? Data. You must know how to use Excel, Power BI, and SQL, structured query language, to interact with databases. This is important for the business analyst today. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, a business analyst has no business learning Excel, Power BI, or SQL. But the business analyst of today is required to have some appreciation for data analytics. That gives you an edge over your contemporaries. And that's why we have it in our curriculum at Tenalytics. So that's the very first thing you learn. You learn the data analytics skills. You learn Excel, you learn Power BI, you learn SQL. Then you move into process mapping. Remember, this is your core function. That's your bread and butter every day, process mapping. So you learn how to, map out processes. You learn how to map out processes using tools like Draw.io, using tools like Lucidchart, and so on and so forth. You learn project initiation planning, because remember, some of those process automation projects would require a project manager to manage it. So you would learn project initiation, you would learn Agile and Scrum for projects, because you would also have a skill as a project manager. And that's why I tell people, rather than project management, and this is my opinion based on the market demand, rather than project management, I would go for a business analyst role, because as a business analyst, I'm going to learn data. All right. I'm going to learn project initiation, Agile. I'm going to learn software development, which is project management. All right. So I know project management, I know data, and I have my business analysis skills. This gives me a whole wider opportunities compared to somebody who is just a project manager and can only do project management. All right. So as a business analyst, of course, you're going to understand the software development lifecycle. In building software, you need to know what it takes to design, to plan, to design, to build, to deploy, to test, and to maintain a software, because you will be managing similar projects. You would also learn requirement fundamentals. You would learn elicitation, asking the right questions to get the requirements needed to execute a particular solution. You'd learn how to manage stakeholders, and you learn ChatGPT. So for those of you that enjoyed what I did with ChatGPT, which is just something very, very little, you would learn how to use ChatGPT for business analysis. All right. And I always tell people this: if you've ever worked with a company before where you've helped them increase revenue, you've helped them reduce losses, you've helped them acquire more customers, you've helped the business get better by doing one thing or the other, you have worked as a business analyst. So when you listen to Abigail talking about how Tenalytics showed her that there is a business analyst in everyone, that was simply what we did. We took her previous years of experience and we extracted the business analysis functions in her past experience, even though she had never done business analysis before. But there is a business analyst in everybody, depending on what you've done before. All right. How long does it take you to get into this space? 4 months. 2 months project-based classes and 2 months internship. And your internship is where you work on a project to build a software, a web development project. You build a web application. You are not the one building the web application as a business analyst, but you would manage the project that would lead to the building of that web application. For 2 months, you're going to be working with Scrum Masters, with a software developer, with a product owner to solve this particular problem. And again, you have your classes on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays for those in Africa, for those in the UK with similar time zones, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. For those in Canada, just like Abigail, for those in the US, you have a time that fits your zone, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And on Sundays, if you are in the UK, you are in Africa, Europe, similar time zone, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Sundays. And if you're in Canada, you are in the US, 12 noon to 3 p.m. on Sundays. So you have a flexible class that fits your time zone depending on where you are. And you don't need any experience, zero experience, because all the things you need to do, the projects you need to build, you will do that during the program itself. All right. And this is the business analysis. I'm going to move on to data analytics. As a data analyst, your core responsibility is to help a company answer questions and to solve problems from a data perspective. Organizations generate data. Tenalytics, holding this session today, this free session that everybody has joined, we are going to generate data from this session. How many male, how many female, how many people joined from the US, how many people joined from Canada, from the UK, from Africa. We're going to gather this data, all right? How do we make sense of the data? How can we take decisions based on that data? And that's the role of the data analyst. The data analyst answers 2 key questions. The first question is descriptive analytics, which is what happened. Every company wants to know what happened last year, what happened last quarter, what happened 5 years ago, how much did we generate 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. All right, how many customers did we acquire in Q1 2023? Can we compare that to Q1 2024 to see if we've improved or if we've declined? All right, so what happened? This is a key question a data analyst would answer for a company. And go ahead to answer the question, why did it happen? All right, because when you know what happened, you can start to answer why it happened. So if you compare Q1 2023 to Q1 2024, did we improve? If we improved, why did we have that improvement? So that we can implement the same strategies to keep on having that similar performance going forward into the year. And these are the 2 questions the data analyst would answer. And they are called descriptive analytics, what happened, and diagnostic analytics, why did it happen? For you to answer questions on what happened and why it happened based on the data that organizations have generated, you must have some key sets of skills. You must understand problem solving. What are the key techniques to deploy to solve problems? How do you even identify that this is a problem? How do you get to the root cause of a problem using techniques like the 5 whys technique? How do you use techniques like the McKinsey-Mason model, the prioritization matrix, the CRISP-DM framework to solve problems? So you learn about these techniques. You learn Excel, which is the foundation of data analytics. You learn how to use Excel. You saw on Victoria's portfolio when I showed you projects using Excel. Very, very important. Excel gives you that background foundation. I always like to call it's you building a house, but starting from the foundation. So you have a solid foundation and you build on that foundation. A lot of people learn the wrong way, and I laugh when I see that, and I also make corrections. You don't learn by, you don't build a house by starting from the roof. You are going to struggle until you complete the house, if you ever complete the house. So you must always start with the rudiments, the foundation, the background that gets you a solid footing into that career path. So you start from Excel, you learn SQL, which is a language to interact with databases. Organizations will keep their data in a database. So how do you interact with this database? How do you extract your data from that database? You need to understand SQL, structured query language. You learn Power BI for data analytics, for data visualization, and this helps you automate a lot of your reports. All right. So if I've done analysis to show what happened and why it happened in the last 3 years, I want that report to keep on updating itself so that we can see and benchmark, at different time periods. Okay, this time last year compared to this time this year, have we improved? Have we declined? Power BI helps you do that. Tableau also does that for you, but Tableau gives you a little bit more with regards to statistical analysis and so on and so forth. All right. And Tableau is very similar to Power BI. For some people, they learn Tableau, they forget Power BI. Some learn Power BI, they forget Tableau. But we would recommend that you learn the two as a data analyst because it gives you more opportunities and more jobs you can apply to. Because some organizations would have a preference for Tableau. Some would prefer Power BI. But if you have the two, you don't have to select or choose. You can apply to any job you see out there. You'd learn data storytelling. You'd learn ChatGPT for analytics. And you'd also learn Microsoft Fabric for analytics. Data storytelling, because once you've done your analysis, your CEO, your head of department, the director of your division does not understand the technical jargon you're going to be speaking. So you need to know how to tell a story from the analysis you've done so that your director can take a decision to move the business forward. The CEO can take a decision to move the business forward. So they need to take a decision, but that has to be based on the analysis you have done. All right. ChatGPT, like I mentioned earlier, you can't, rule that out in 2024 and going into the future. That's where the future is. And you must know how to write the right type of prompts, prompt engineering, as a data analyst, and of course, Microsoft Fabric for analytics. How long does it take you to transition into data analytics? 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, and 1 month internship. All right. You don't need any experience. You don't need any background. You don't need any particular degree. My degree, I've done data analytics for close to a decade. My first degree is in industrial chemistry, like I mentioned, nothing related to tech. And that's why when we say tech is skill-based, that's exactly what it means. You learn the skills, you can transition into that particular career path. Now, what makes the data analytics class a little bit more exciting is you don't have a live class on Sunday. Your live class is on Saturday, where you get to work on projects. All right. And you have classes based on your region. If you are in the UK, you are in Nigeria, you are in Ghana, you're somewhere in West Africa, you have a time that fits your zone, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you're in the US, you're in Canada, somewhere around the North American region, you have another class, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time that fits your own class. So you don't need to join class at odd hours because you are in a different region and so on. So you have that flexibility built into your learning. On Sundays, you don't have a live class. You have a self-paced, watch me do it video. All right. So you get some bite-sized videos that you watch on Sundays. You learn some new concepts. You learn and see how it's real people that have created the videos. I created some of the videos. So you would see me showing you how to do some things in Power BI. All right. You're going to learn how to do those things watching those videos, and the following Saturday, you come to class in a live class where you have a live facilitator and you get to work on projects. All right. And this is how you learn in the data analytics program. Now, let's go to the HR analyst role, the HR analytics program. Who is the HR analyst and what do they do? A HR analyst is a data analyst that focuses on what? People-related data. All right. So if an organization wants to know the distribution of gender, the male and female within that company, they want to know the level of attrition, how many people have left the company in the last 5 years, the last 2 years, the last few months, what's the attrition rates, what's absenteeism rates, where are we getting our best talents, what's our talent sourcing analysis and things like that. The HR analyst is that person that gets the data related to people, analyzes that data to help drive HR policies and strategies in an organization. Now, the data analyst would work on different types of data, right? Sales data, performance data, customer data, and so on and so forth. The HR analyst works on what? People data. And that's the major difference. And what do you need to do to become a HR analyst? You need to have some key sets of skills. Just like the data analyst, you'd learn problem solving, you'd learn Excel, you'd learn Power BI, you'd learn SQL, structured query language, and then you move into HR analytics and performance evaluation. HR metrics and life cycle. So what are the metrics you need to measure in a company to tell if the company is doing well based on the people within that organization? All right, I talked about some of them. Absenteeism. All right, you look at absenteeism.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please leave a 1. All right, thank you. So, sorry about the network situation. Nadeza is going to get back in about a minute. Thank you. Meanwhile, if you have questions so far, ensure to keep them in the chat as we'll attend to them before the session gets over. Thank you. All right, your code is now. We can hear you.
All right, sorry about that, guys. For some reason, my network just tripped off. I don't know why that happened, but I think I'm back on. So I can see people saying, oh, they can't hear me anymore. Sorry about that. Okay. Don't worry, we're going to have a Q&A session before we wrap up, and I'll take all your questions, all the questions you have. All the questions you have. Can I get a job remotely? And all of those things. We're going to answer them today. All right. So let's get back and, let's start to finalize and wrap up our session for today. I was talking about the HR analyst and then I was, yanked off the session, but let's wrap up very quickly. I'll take the other programs. And then, like I said, we're going to take questions before we finalize our session today. All right. So you're going to learn all the amazing stuff apart from the data analytics skills. All right. You'd learn how to use ChatGPT as a HR analyst, like I mentioned. You'd automate your reports and also learn how to create action and build your case. Now, you don't need to be a HR analyst to be in this program because all the things you would learn to become a HR analyst, you'd learn them during the program. It's project-based, like I mentioned. All right. You learn this for 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, and 1 month internship. Again, the classes are similar to the data analytics, very flexible. In the morning, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. All right. In the evenings, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is based on your own region. Okay. Now let's move to the financial analytics. What does the financial analyst does? The financial analyst is that professional in an organization that analyzes the financial records and help the company to take decisions, investment decisions, and can also forecast the financial trends within the organization so that when the organization needs to take a financial related decision, they are taking that from a data-driven perspective. Every company works with finances. If you're a not-for-profit, you still have to get, finances to run your operations. So how do you ensure that you are making the best decisions based on the financial data you've generated within the organization? And that's what the financial analyst does. So as a financial analyst, you're a data analyst that focuses on financial data, just like the HR analyst is a data analyst that focuses on people data. So you're going to learn problem solving, just like the data analyst, Excel, Power BI, SQL, and then you move into accounting fundamentals. All right, you learn accounting fundamentals, financial analysis, using different financial ratios to analyze the performance of a business, financial modeling, where you build financial models from scratch. The base case, the best case, the worst case, and so on and so forth. You'd learn valuation, sensitivity and scenario analysis, and ChatGPT for analytics. As a financial analyst, how long does it take you to transition? 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, and 1 month internship. You don't need any experience in, accounting or in finance to be in this class because you work with the best professionals that would help you transition into the space. What are your classes going to look like? Similar to the previous classes. Saturdays is when you have your live class, and on Sundays you have your self-paced Watch Me Do It session. Morning sessions, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West Africa time, and in the evening you have sessions for 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West Africa time, which is also equivalent to 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for those in Canada, for example. So you're not because you are in Canada, you join a class that starts at a very odd hour, eventually. All right. Sundays, you have your self-paced Watch Me Do It videos where you get to watch on your own to prep you ahead of the next class the coming Saturday. Now, let's go to the data scientist. Who is a data scientist and what does a data scientist do in an organization? I want to test your knowledge and know the people that have been listening to me, When we talked about the data analyst, we said that the data analyst answers 2 key questions: descriptive analytics and diagnostic analytics. I want you to remind me, what is the question you try to answer when you are doing descriptive analytics, and what's the question you answer in diagnostic analytics? Just type it into the chat. Descriptive and diagnostic. Type the questions you would ask or the questions you would answer working as a data analyst in any organization. What happened and why it happened? Fantastic. Infinix Smart, Panom, Udehi, Descriptive, what happened, confidence, what happened and why it happened. Absolutely phenomenal. You guys are amazing. All right. Descriptive. So the data scientist would also answer those questions the data analyst would have to answer, which is what? Descriptive. What happened? So you gather historical data, you find out what happened in the last month, the last week, the last day, the last 5 years. It's historical. What happened? All right. When you know this, you answer the question, why did it happen? Now, the data scientist takes it a step further. And I want you to listen carefully. And this is the major difference between the data analyst and the data scientist. The data scientist now takes it a step further to answer a key question that enables companies to plan for the future, which is what will happen, or what is likely going to happen. You can ask it in two ways: what will happen, or what is likely going to happen, which is looking into the future. If I know what happened, I know why it happened, then I can predict what will happen in the future. And this is where the data scientist comes in. The data scientist does what you call predictive analytics, in addition to descriptive and diagnostic. So the data scientist needs to have some skills in statistical modeling to look into the future and forecast and predict what will happen. Because if I know what will happen, I can prepare for that. I can work towards the future, plan my resources, and so on and so forth. And that's who a data scientist is. A data scientist analyzes data in an organization to help the organization take decisions based on what has happened, why it happened, and what will happen in the future, so the organization can plan its resources ahead of the eventual outcome of what will happen in that company. That's the major difference between the data analyst and the data scientist. And of course, to predict and look into the future, you need to have some key skills in statistics. And this is why your machine learning, your forecasting, predicting, and so on and so forth is all hinged on what? Statistics. And that's where you start your journey from. All right, you start your journey from there. You then learn Excel. But the Excel you are learning this time around is Excel for what? Predictive analytics and forecasting. So you use Excel to forecast and predict the future, not just Excel the way every other person would use Excel. You'd learn Tableau for data analytics, and then you would also learn SQL to interact with databases. Now, how do you build models that would help you predict complex data that you'll be working with? And this is where Python programming comes in. We're going to learn how to use Python as a language to do your exploratory data analysis, to build your machine learning models, to build your computer vision programs, and so on and so forth. A lot of people that try to transition into data science start from Python, which is a fundamental mistake that you make, because it's equivalent to building the house from the roof rather than building it from the foundation. Python is not the beginning of data science. Python is a part of data science. Statistics is that fundamental, the background. Remember, you must always have a solid background to have a career in a particular area or a particular career path. So you start from statistics, you learn Excel for forecasting, you learn Tableau, you learn SQL before you move into Python. You use Python for your exploratory data analysis to build your machine learning models, both supervised and unsupervised models. You learn computer vision, which is where you build programs that can detect objects. So you use your webcam to detect objects. If your webcam sees a smile, it knows that that is a smile. If it sees a human being's face, it knows that this is a face, and so on and so forth. If you have more time, I'll show you some of the programs our participants built in the data science. I'll show you on LinkedIn. It's public. because at Analytics, you always learn in public, all right? You'd learn GitHub version control. You'd learn ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot, and then Microsoft Fabric for analytics. How long does it take you to transition into data science? 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, and 1 month internship. The classes are similar to the data analytics class in terms of the timing. You have your live class on Saturdays, and on Sundays, you don't have a live class. You have something we call the Watch Me Do It self-paced class. All right, and we have classes for those in Europe, the UK, Africa, and we have classes for those in the US, in Canada, and so on. It's the same curriculum, the same facilitators. The difference is if you have to join a class in West Africa that starts at 11, in Edmonton, for example, that's 3 a.m. in the morning. And I'm sure you can't join a class by 3 a.m. That will be too early. And that's why we have classes for different regions. Now let's move into data engineering very quickly. Who is the data engineer? The data analyst needs data. The data scientist needs data. The HR analyst needs data. The financial analyst needs data. Even the business analyst also needs data. Where does the data come from? Who makes the data available? And that's the data engineer. Data comes from different systems. Let's take the banking industry, for example. The banks, all of us have apps. We have applications, our mobile apps on our phone that we use to do transactions. All right. We have web. Some of us go to the website and we execute transactions from the web. Or you have POS, okay, points of sales, transactions, and so on. All these systems have a database somewhere that they store all the transactions. All right. There's a database across all these systems where the transactions are stored. Now, will the data analyst go to the POS, the web, and the application to get data from there? The answer is no. The data engineer is that person that then creates the data pipelines. All right. Pipelines, just like you lay pipes when you build a house to move water from somewhere into your kitchen, to your washroom, and so on and so forth. All right. The data engineer creates pipelines and moves data from all these systems into a data warehouse. And the data warehouse is where you have all the data that the organization needs. And that makes the data engineer role very, very important. All right. So as a data engineer, you need very key sets of skills. You're going to start with introduction to data engineering, and then you would learn SQL and Python, and that'll be your bread and butter. As a data engineer, your key technology, the key technologies you need to learn, SQL, Python, and this is what you'd use largely during your role as a data engineer. You'd learn Linux for bash scripting. You build your ETL pipelines using Python, connecting to databases, APIs, and different other data sources. You'd learn Apache Spark, Apache Airflow for orchestration and scheduling, and also data pipeline automation. All right. You'd learn AWS cloud engineering as a cloud platform. You'd learn version control with GitHub, and you'd learn ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot. And these are the key set of skills you'd learn as a data engineer. Again, you don't need any experience to get into data engineering. All right. You'd learn all the things from scratch. And the duration is a bit different from the others. The others have been 4 months, 4 months, 4 months. Data engineering is for 5 months because of the technologies you'll be learning. Okay, you're going to learn for 3 months project-based classes and then 2 months internship. Your internship would be 2 months. All right. So it's an immersive, very comprehensive program where you learn to be a data engineer that provides data for different stakeholders within the organization. So you're the one building the data infrastructure, ensuring that data is available within the organization. Your classes, you have live classes on Saturdays, and on Sundays, you have your self-paced Watch Me Do It classes. Mondays, Saturdays, I beg your pardon, you have classes from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. If you are in West Africa, if you are in Canada, you are in the US, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And on Sundays, you have your Watch Me Do It self-paced videos. All right. Now we are moving to the last two career paths, the Scrum Master. I talked about the Scrum Master earlier, and I mentioned that the Scrum Master is similar to a project manager, all right, but not your conventional project manager. A project manager that leverages and deploys the Agile methodology. Agile. Why is Agile very important? Okay, why is Agile very important? Now, imagine that you want to cook a pot of rice, or you want to cook jollof rice. Now, what the conventional project manager would do is to take, and for those that don't know what the jollof rice is, if you're not a Nigerian or a West African, you might not know what jollof rice is. Jollof rice is simply rice that you mix with tomatoes and so many other things to make the rice very tasty. All right. Now, the conventional project management ideology, which is called the waterfall. Waterfall means that I have to ensure that all my condiments, all my ingredients, every single thing I need for this particular rice, jollof rice I want to cook, is available. All right. On the other hand, the Agile methodology has a different approach, which is I don't necessarily need everything. I'm going to buy and get different ingredients depending on what the customer wants. So the Agile methodology would first of all cook the rice, add maybe a few quantity of tomatoes, take that portion of the rice and serve it to the guests and ask the guests, is this portion of tomatoes, the quantity of tomatoes I put, is it enough, or would you want me to add more? If the guest says, I want more, they go back and add more tomatoes, all right? Add another condiment, serve it back to the guests. What do you think? Do you think I should add more oil? Do you think I should add more salt? Do you think I should add more curry? And so on and so forth. Depending on what the guest tells the cook goes back and keeps on making adjustments until the jollof rice is perfect for the guests. And that is what your applications of today in the tech ecosystem, that's the way they are built. They are never built with a particular straight line method. They're never built with all the different features embedded. And that's why you see today, WhatsApp has no ability to share the screen, but today you can share screen using WhatsApp. You have updates every other day on WhatsApp, on Instagram, and so many other applications. And that's because as you use the application, you give feedback to the company takes your feedback, make adjustments, and ensures that at every point in time, these products, tech products, are fit for purpose and fit for the market. And you can only do this using the Agile methodology. Waterfall, you have to do everything. So I'm going to cook the rice the way I know how to cook rice from beginning till the end, and then I serve you the rice when it's already done. So when it's done already, you can't tell me to go back and add this or add that. All right. So waterfall is very predictive. You predict everything you are going to do because you already know how to do it. On the other hand, Agile is what's adaptive. You adapt to what the customers want, to what the client wants, to what the market wants, all right? And this is who the Scrum Master is. The Scrum Master is that person that ensures that the Agile methodology is deployed in building a product, ensuring that all the Scrum rules are followed in deploying a product. And that's why you find the Scrum Masters. So anybody who does this, you find them in the tech ecosystem, and they are the Scrum Masters. And that's why the Scrum Masters would get a job in tech a lot faster than any project manager. So when people come to me and say, oh, I want to be a project manager, I'm looking to get into the tech ecosystem and so on, just be a Scrum Master. You're likely going to get more opportunities by doing that rather than just a conventional project manager. All right. So as a Scrum Master, you're going to learn some key sets of skills. You're going to learn how to use Jira. You're going to learn how to use Trello and Confluence to collaborate and track project deliverables. You start with introduction to Scrum. You learn about the Scrum teams, the Scrum artifacts, and the Scrum ceremonies. You'd learn about increments, the sprint backlog. You'd learn about the Scrum events, Nexus Scale Scrum, which is simply implementing Scrum on a larger scale across multiple teams, and would also show you how to prepare for the PSM certification. All right. Now, the learning timeline for the Scrum Master program is for 2 months. 1 month learning in class, and then 1 month working on a real world project. Now, the Scrum Master program, as a Scrum Master, you will join the project where the business analysts are also building a web application project, a web application. So you would be the Scrum Master on that project. So it's a real world project where you're working with a real web developer, a software developer that would build a particular application. So you would come up with the sprint planning, you would do the sprint review, and all of those things that the Scrum Master would need to do. All right. And your classes are on Saturdays and on Sundays. Okay. On Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and on Sundays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. So currently we don't have, the Scrum Master is a program we launched in January. So we currently don't have the classes for those in North America and those in Europe. It's one class for everybody. All right. So in the morning, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time, and on Sundays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. West Africa time. And last but not the least is the cybersecurity program. And for the cybersecurity program, as a cybersecurity or somebody who wants to become a cybersecurity analyst, what do you do in an organization? As a cybersecurity professional, as a cybersecurity analyst, your focus is on protecting the systems, protecting the network, and protecting the data of any organization from external threats and external cyber threats. So how do you ensure that people who don't have the access to certain type of data cannot get access to that data? How do you protect the systems and the networks? And that's what the cybersecurity analyst would do across an organization. And you would start from, of course, understanding the role of the cybersecurity analyst. You'd move into networking and the foundations of computing. You'd also understand the security principles. Information is very large, is a broader, knowledge area. So you understand the principles of information security. And then you need to understand offensive and defensive cybersecurity, cryptography, attack vectors, and cyber threats. You'd also understand how to protect network, protect endpoints, and also web and application security. All right. And of course, today, organizations have data on the cloud. The moment you have a OneDrive, you have a Google Drive, and so on, your data is somewhere on the cloud. All right. You use Office 365, you have data on the cloud. You use the Google Workspace, you have data on the cloud. So how do you protect your cloud platforms from threats externally? Incident response and forensics, and of course, compliance, policies and compliance with regards to cyber security. And how do you learn to become a cybersecurity analyst? 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, and 1 month internship working on real world projects. Just like the Scrum program, you don't have classes for North America and classes for Europe or Africa. You have one class for everybody, which is Saturdays and Sundays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West Africa time, and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Sundays, West Africa time. And this brings us to the explanation of all the different programs. All right. So we're going to move on to the cost of all these programs. What does it take for you to join the cybersecurity program, to join the data analytics or business analysis? And all the programs come with a free internship. And for those of you that joined at the beginning, I talked about how important it is for you to be in a platform or learn on a platform that provides you with internship. and ensuring that that platform can also provide you with what? References and recommendations. All right, because most of the time, some of you are doing maybe customer service. You're working as a customer service operative. You're working as a customer service analyst. You're working as a nurse. You're working as a caregiver or as a care worker. Your care agency cannot provide you with a reference to be a business analyst. Just like Abigail, who moved from care to business analyst. She couldn't get a reference from the care agency because it doesn't make sense. You said you are a business analyst, so why are you getting a reference from a care agency? So you need to ensure that whatever platform, just like what Tenalytics does, we provide references and recommendations to our participants, all right? And I'm going to move very quickly. Why train with us? And I think from our conversation today, it's been very clear that one of the things you'd find at Tenalytics is a track record of success, helping over 2,000 people over the last 4 years to transition into the tech ecosystem. The curriculum, the facilitators are of the best standard, top-notch professionals working with Fortune 500 companies across the globe. Blended training approach. You don't have to be in class every Sunday for some of the programs, and you have something we call the Watch Me Do It videos that helps the slow learners to catch up a lot faster. So it's a blended learning approach, and this makes learning a lot easier and a lot more fun. And lastly are the tailored sessions that we provide to position you for success. Like I said earlier, the technical skill alone would never get you the job. You must do a lot more than just the technical skill. All right. And I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on that because this, I dare say that this is even more important than any other skill you're ever going to learn. Why do I say so? Because every organization expects that you have the foundation. Okay. If you're going to apply for a data analyst role, I expect you know how to use Excel. I expect you know how to use Power BI. It's a given. They expect that from you. But not all candidates would have this set of skills I'm going to share with you. And this is why our participants have been so successful. Abigail was so successful. Ramat, Rafiat, Oluwatosin, Chika, all the amazing professionals that have gotten jobs. This is the reason why they have been so successful. The CV review sessions. How do you ensure that you revamp your CV in a way that it captures the role you're trying to apply to? It's able to beat the ATS system called the Applicant Tracking System that matches the keywords from the job requirements to your CV and sees if you meet the requirements before you get called up for interviews. All right, so we work with you to review your CV and show you how to tailor your CV to job applications. So you're not applying to 100 jobs with one CV. You apply to 100 jobs with 100 CVs because that's the only way you're going to get positive results from the job application process. We work with you to optimize your LinkedIn profile. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, we create one for you, show you how to optimize your LinkedIn profile to get the best possible results. For those of you that want to work remotely, work as a freelancer, we build an Upwork profile for you. If you have one already, we help you optimize the Upwork profile. Navigating the job market session. How do you understand the nuances, the differences between the Canadian job market and the UK job market? We talked a bit about when you go into an interview and about confidence. We are always very particular about that because in the developed economies, you're interviewing with a UK-based recruiter. The first thing they would see from you is your confidence. So when you get into the room, how do you, start small talk? Because that's what they enjoy a whole lot. All right. Hello, how are you doing? How is the weather? Where you're from and so on and so forth. You talk about how you play, your favorite sports is football. You follow Barcelona, you follow Manchester United. You have those small talks, and those are the things they like to hear. Those are the things they want to see from you. All right, they are very, very important. And you don't know these things because of your region and where you're coming from. So having these skills knowing how to apply to jobs, where to apply to jobs, how to navigate the job markets puts you at an edge, at an advantage over the competition. Of course, we prepare you for interviews, and this is one exciting thing we do. When you get an interview, how do you preempt the type of questions you're going to get? Abigail, for example, you listen to her. We prepared her for our interview. These are the things to expect. This is what you need to say. This is how to answer key questions. Don't talk about customers. Use stakeholder in place of customers. All right? Use the necessary type of terminologies and things like that. And these are the things we help to prepare you. I talked about the references and recommendations already. And of course, moving to level 2, you have your weekly mentorship sessions. And this is where we push you, because everybody wants to be pushed. If not, we don't get to do the things we need to do. And this is where we push you to apply to jobs. We answer your questions. You are new in the space. You have a lot of questions. You have myself, you have the co-founder, you have industry experts that would meet with you every single week to prepare you, answer those questions, and ensure that you have a seamless transition process. Without mentorship, you'll take a whole lot longer transitioning into a space. We provide on-the-job support, so we don't leave you hanging even when you get the job. So you've done all the things you need to do, you secure the job, you find a particular project that is difficult beyond what you thought, beyond what you think you can do. We've had a situation where there was a particular gentleman who got a job in the UK for a data consulting company. Now, he was on a data migration project. I always like to use this example because it was very profound. It was a data migration project. He had never been on a data migration project before. So he was a bit, nervous. And he called me, I remember vividly. Oh, Adeza, I've gotten a job. This is what I found myself on a project. I don't know what to do. What do you think? And I could sense the fear. And I told him that, look, calm down. All right. I'm going to have a meeting with you in the next few hours when I get home. I called up Ifemena. We had a session with him. And all we needed to do was let him know the type of questions to ask when he organizes a meeting. So the first thing you need to do is to gather requirements, gather information. So set up a meeting and ask these questions. Once you have done this, these are the next set of things to do. And that was all he needed. That was the on-the-job support he needed. And he was able to scale that project, completed it, and is currently doing an amazing job. We do that for you for 1 month, working with you on the job until you have a solid footing on that particular role. And finally is what we call level 3. And we are doing this year, 2024, which is our promise to you. We promise you would get an interview 1 month after completing your program with us. So we are confident in all the things we're going to put in place for you, from your CV to your LinkedIn, to you eventually landing an interview, a minimum of 1 month after you complete your training with us. And this is being modest because people get jobs, not even interviews, while they are still on the program, right? But we are guaranteeing you an interview 1 month after you're done with your program with us. And that's our promise to you in the year 2024. All right. Now, our next cohort starts on the 2nd of March, 2024. That's next week, Saturday. It's already upon us, and we've had multiple sessions on this. Okay, so for those of you that are interested in getting into any of the areas as a data analyst or data scientist, this is the best time for you to start in 2024. March is the last month of the last quarter of the first quarter, I beg your pardon, the last month of the first quarter. And this is the best time for you to get into the tech ecosystem. So what does it take for you to get into any of our programs? And this is where I would introduce you to the amazing discounts that we also have for you. And the discount is for the first 20 people that will be joining our programs for all the different programs, data analytics, data science, and so on and so forth. All right. Now, for those who will be joining the data analytics, the business analysis, the HR analytics, financial analytics, or the full stack data science, instead of paying the full amount of $750, you get to pay just $600. You have $150 discount right off the bat. And you can make your payment in 2 installments of $450 to get registered, and this gets you into the class. You get a welcome kit that contains all the materials, all the applications, and everything that you need for the program. And then you pay the balance of $150 1 month after the program must have commenced. All right, and if you're paying in pounds, you get to pay $625 instead of paying $625, which is the full amount. You have an amazing discount, and you get to pay just £500 to be a part of the program. And once you take advantage of the discount, you can also make payments in 2 installments of £375 to get started, and then £125 1 month after the program commences. All right. Now, for those who would love to join data engineering and the cybersecurity program, instead of paying $900, you get to pay $750 to be a part of the program. That's the discounted amount. And you can break your payment in 2 installments as well. $550, this gets you into the class, it gets you registered, and then you pay the balance of $200 1 month after the program commences. And for cybersecurity, instead of paying $750, you also get to pay $625, $460, and £165, I beg your pardon. All right. And for those who will be joining the Scrum Master program, rather than paying the original fee of $450, you also get a discount to pay just $350, broken into $250 and $100. If you're paying in pounds, £295, broken into $295. And this is what it takes for you to be a part of a 10Analytics program, where you get an immersive, comprehensive training program that gets you started in a new career path anywhere across the globe. Now, remember, the discount is not available to everybody. It's available to the first 20 people that gets registered in any of the career path I have just listed. Okay, so how do I make payments if I want to be a part of the program? And please, are there opportunities for financial aid? Okay, somebody's asking that question. The financial aid we can provide is the discounted amounts and the opportunity to also make payments in multiple installments. All right, the first installment and the second installment, which comes in a month after you have, started the program. Okay, so how do you make payments if you want to pay? All you need to do is click on this link. So I'll walk you through this very quickly, and then I'll come back to take your questions, because I'm sure you have burning questions, and I would love to take all the questions you have. So once you click on the link, it brings you into the 10Analytics Enrollment Center. All right, and in the Enrollment Center, you have access to all the program brochures. So you want to register for any of the programs, you want to see the nitty-gritty of what you learn, you can click on the program brochure, click on that link, it takes you into the different brochures. Let's check the business analysis, for example. I want to see the nitty-gritty of what I'll learn in business analysis. I want to know who my trainers would be, my facilitators. All right, so you have access to the business analysis brochure. You can scroll through this and see the specifics of what you'd be learning. When you learn Microsoft Excel, Power BI, SQL, ChatGPT, project initiation planning, what is the role of a business analyst, understanding the business objectives. So all the specifics of what you learn, Agile essentials, all right, the software development lifecycle, and so on and so forth. So you'd see all the breakdown of the program you would be joining eventually. Okay, you see the type of projects you're going to work on, amazing projects, some of the projects you'd work on, and then I'll introduce you to your facilitators. Of course, I'll be one of your facilitators. You can see me there. You'd also work with Linda, Linda is a business analyst with over a decade years of experience across different regions. She's worked in Ghana, worked in Nigeria, worked for some of the biggest organizations across the globe, currently works with a fintech in the UK, working remotely from Nigeria. All right. So you work with Linda, who's a fantastic professional. You work with Oluwaseun. Oluwaseun is a product reliability engineer with Visa. You all know the Visa and MasterCard, right? Oluwaseun is going to be one of your trainers, and he works with Visa in the UK, and who will be one of your facilitators. You have Olabisi as well, who is a business analyst and IT project manager, and also a Scrum Master with Access Bank in Nigeria. She's also going to be one of your facilitators. So the brochure gives you insights into what you will be learning and the specifics. So I've looked at the brochure, I've decided, or I've made up my mind already that I want to register for the business analysis. How do I go ahead and make payments? Simple. Still on the enrollment center, just scroll down and you will see the different programs, and I click on business analysis. And this takes me into where I can go ahead and make my payments. Okay. Now remember, you don't have to pay the full amount. If you want to pay the full amount, absolutely phenomenal. You can go ahead and do that. So you are all in, you are locked in to get your journey started in business analysis or data analytics or data engineering, depending on the program you've decided. Okay. But now I want to register for business analysis, and I need to pay what? The first installment of 375. If you want to pay the full amount of 500, you go ahead and click on proceed to pay. You want to pay the first installment, all you have to do, take out the 500, type in 375, which is the initial payment, and click on what? Proceed to pay. Enter your full name, enter your email, all right? Enter your phone number, and then you can pay with your debit card, you can pay with your credit card, and enter your card information in here, and then you get to make payments. The moment you make payments, you receive an automated receipt into your email. Okay, so ensure that you put the right email, put your phone number, so we can also reach out to you, and so on and so forth. So you get an email into you get a receipt into your email, which also has a link for you to fill a form to get all your details. All right. And I'll show you what the form looks like after you've made payments. All right. So once you've made payments, you're going to receive a link to this form, which I'll be showing to you. All right. And this is where you enter your details and provide your details. You enter your email, the type of payment you have made. You click on next. You enter your first name, your last name, your gender, click on next. And you just enter your details. You read the terms and conditions, click on next. And when did you make payments? You upload your proof of payments, your mode of payment. I paid using what? The main stack. I click on next. All right. Now, this is a very important part of the form. For some of you, you have questions around, oh, I've been in logistics. I don't know if I should do data analytics or business analysis. Adeza, what do you think? So we have something we call a clarity session, which is a one-on-one session where we help you to answer these questions. We don't tell you exactly what you must do, but we guide you based on your experience and so on and so forth, for those of you that haven't been able to make a decision. So when you get to this place that says, which program are you registering for? Rather than choosing a specific program, if you are not sure, just select, I need to speak with a professional. All right. And we're going to schedule a session with you where we help you choose the right program for you to join. Now, what we always advise you to do, because you have just a week before the program commences, and this is where people start to rush to get into the class. So secure your discount, make your deposits, make the initial payments, and then when filling the form, select, I need to speak with a professional, and then we'll jump on a call to help you, select the best program for you. But if you haven't done that, you haven't made your initial payments, what happens? You get into the one-on-one session just to find out that the discounted slots are gone and you have to make the full payment. Okay, now once you've selected, I need to speak with a professional. For those of you that would want a one-on-one with myself, a one-on-one with a co-founder and other professionals within Tenalytics, you click on next. All right. Now, for some people, March might be a little bit busy for them. All right. You have some commitments and so on and so forth. You want to join in April. So how do you be a part of the April cohort, but securing your discount today? Because the discount is for the March cohorts. So what you can do, once you've made your deposits, you want to start in April instead of starting in March. When do you intend to start? Rather than selecting 2nd of March, you can select the 6th of April. And this would automatically defer your program to the month of April instead of starting in March. All right. So these are very salient points, I need to bring to your attention. First of all, you want to be a part of the program, secure your discount. First, make the deposit payments and ensure you secure the discount. If you need a one-on-one session to help you decide, you can then have that session with us and we will help you, and you know that your discounted slot is already secured. For those that would also, maybe you already have some commitments in March, you want to start in April, all you need to do is select April instead of March from this form, and this gets you into the April cohort. All right. Now, this is the point where I take questions because I know you have amazing questions. So Eniola is asking how much for data analysis and data. You have that on the screen currently, Eniola. Okay, so you can just do a screenshot of this particular page. Everything you need in terms of the payments and the fees, you have them here. All right. Let me take more questions. So for those of you in Nigeria, all you need to do, just click on the link and you would see the fees in your currency. All right. You see the fees in your currency. You are in Europe, you are in Ghana, you are in somewhere across South Africa, irrespective of where you are. You click on the link and it shows you the amounts in your specific currency. Okay. How can I make changes to the form I filled on the link provided earlier? So Sam, what you can do is simple, all right? You can send us a message, send us an email. You want to make a change to the program. Maybe you selected a program before. Just let us know. We'll make that change for you. The class doesn't start until next week, Saturday. So you have enough time. You have until, even after you've started, you have 2 weeks into the program. So let's take, for example, you choose financial analytics and you've done that for 2 weeks and you have a change of mind that, okay, I don't want financial analytics anymore. I think I'll do better in data analytics. You can move into data analytics even 2 weeks after your classes have started. All right. So moving is not an issue. It's not a problem at all for you, but just send us a message, Sam. Okay. And if you need to make a change, we will help you effect that change. Stephen is asking, please, can you quickly enumerate the courses in financial analytics? I missed that session. All right. So Stephen, I'll just go back a few slides to show the financial analytics. All right. Okay, so there you go, Stephen. So you can take a screenshot of this, like I said, and you have all the things that you need in there. Priscilla has actually provided that for you. So let's see. Natisha is asking, is the 750 for business analysis US or CAD? Is US dollars. All right. So if you're in Canada, you'd see Canadian dollars equivalent once you click on the link. All right. So 750 is the original fee. You have a discount for being a part of this masterclass, $150 discount. So rather than paying $750, Natisha, you get to pay $600 instead of $750. All right. So if you're in Canada, you are in Trinidad and Tobago, Switzerland, Paris, all you need to do is click on the link and you'd see the corresponding, currency for you to make payments. Can someone else make payments on my behalf? Absolutely. Yes, anybody can make payments on your behalf, Ezekiel. But what the person has to do after making payments is, while filling this form that I showed you earlier, just ensure that your own details are filled. But it doesn't matter. Let's assume the person makes a mistake and does not fill your detail. What we'll do is we reach out to you and we get those details from you. All right. So when entering your email, ensure it's your own email, ensure it's your first name, ensure it's your last name, after the person has made payments for you. All right. We have brothers who buy the program for their younger ones. We've had fathers, we've had parents who buy the program for their children. All right. Timothy is asking, how do I secure the discount? By making payments and being a part of the first 20 people. That's the only way you secure the discount for the program. Can I get to reach out to any of your team members if I need payment plans for data engineering? Absolutely. Eniola. All right. Yeah, Priscilla has responded, but you get a more direct response if you send an email to nene@10analytics.io. Okay, you get a more direct response to that, Eniola. Thanks for asking. Okay, so I think I've pretty much answered. So for somebody who would like to speak, if you'd like to unmute yourself to ask questions, please, you can use the raise hand icon. I'll ask you to unmute and we'd get to hear from you. All right, so while we are waiting for more questions, I'll walk you through the platform, okay? When you join our program, how do you learn? And why is it amazing to learn with 10Analytics? Why is it amazing? Okay. Now, you join a classroom. The moment you make payments, your payment is confirmed, you receive a welcome kit. It would contain a link for you to join a classroom that looks like one of these classrooms. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go into one of the classrooms, business analysis. Let's look at the January cohorts. Those that started on the 6th of January. And you'd see on my screen that you have business analysis EU, business analysis NA. So the EU, Europe, Africa, similar time zone, NA, North America, US, Canada, similar time zone as well. If I open up the EU class, all right, and I'll walk you through that very quickly. Okay. Now, very important things I want to mention. Number one is you have a job application tracker that you will use to track the jobs you are applying to. Because remember, it's all about you getting a job and starting a new career path. Okay, so you have your job application tracker in here that you will use to track your applications and see if you are doing well or not with regards to your job application. We always tell people applying to jobs is a job on its own, and you have to take it with all seriousness, and we will be there to guide you, provide all the different materials, show you what to do, how do you tailor, how do you do a job match, and so on and so forth. All right. You have your interview preparation session. If you have an interview, you've been applying to jobs, you have an interview, what do? You don't need to speak to anybody. All you need to do is come to your classroom, come to this particular link, go to book an interview session and click on any of the Calendly links, and then you will book. If I click on this link, for example, it takes me to Calendly, and then I can book a session. The next session available is on Tuesday, 27th. I click on this, I select the time, click on next, I enter my name, enter my email, and then I enter the details of the job description and I click on schedule events. And what this does for me on that particular time, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., I will get somebody to work with me and prepare me for that interview. However, if there is a time that does not, meet my preference when scheduling, I can then reach out to my class coordinator and, let them know that I need a different time from what is available, because people select the available times. And if you don't select early, you might just miss out on a time that you will have been able to get. But once you reach out to us, we make times available and prepare you for those interviews. You have a CV template that will be provided to you that is the best industry standard for you to use as a business analyst. All right, we're going to work with this after you've gone through your CV review sessions. You know how to tailor your CV, you know how to do a job match, you know how to, tailor your CV to the job applications and so on. You then work with the templates. You have job site links. This is exclusive to our Tenalytics participants, where to apply to jobs. Remote jobs, for example, one of the places you don't want to go to look for remote jobs today is on LinkedIn, on Indeed. Yes, there are remote jobs available on these platforms, but you're not likely going to get the best possible results when you look for remote jobs on those platforms. So what are the platforms, or where are the platforms where you can apply to remote jobs and get the best possible results? We provide that to you. You can see the portfolios I shared with you earlier. All right, this amazing portfolios of our participants. This is Victoria. You can see the portfolio she built, showcasing her project. She was able to do this by leveraging these materials in the classroom. So you have a guide on how to build your portfolio, and you get to do that, all right? Now, let's move to the very beginning of this program, okay? The very first thing you start with in the business analysis is Excel. And when we say the program is project-based, every single class you get to work on a project, because you need to know how to apply the things you've learned on a project. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, you don't miss out on anything. So if, for example, you miss this first Excel class, the class recording is available to you. It is your material, it is available, you can watch it, you can download on your computer, and so on and so forth. All right, so you have the class recording. Of course, you have the login details to join the class. You have the class recording after the class, and then you have the class materials available. And this particular case study was a case study for a company called Glow Gadgets. All right, and Glow Gadgets manufactures eco-friendly electronics to their customers, and you'll be working with Glow Gadgets to help them answer some key questions using Excel. What does the company spend each month in paying employees? So you want to answer these key questions leveraging Excel. Okay. Establish the spending score category to effectively represent the different types of spenders within the organization. So you will use Excel not as a tool, the way people learn to use Excel. You use Excel to solve problems. All right. You have your second Excel class, and you have something we call, which is amazing, presentations. So you'd work on case studies in groups. And this case study is where you see Sunshine Results case study. The first assignment, the Sunshine Results case study. I would go back to Lemuel's profile, and you'd see where she was able to upload this project as part of our portfolio. So you start to see how important these things are. So let's go to Lemuel's portfolio. Refresh. Can you see the Sunshine Results? Okay, the Sunshine Results case study. You can see that is one of the projects that Lemuel has uploaded, the Sunshine Results. And if we click on Explore Sunshine Results, you'd see what she had built using Excel. All right. And this is part of what you do in creating your portfolio. So the Sunshine Result case study was just an assignment that, participants would get to work on. Lemuel uploaded it as part of her case study. For those of you that you're not outspoken, you don't like to communicate, you are shy, you have stage fright, we're going to bring that out of you, because you would have to do presentations. You would do mock interview sessions where you overcome your stage fright, you know how to present, and so on and so forth. Right? So you have your mentorship sessions, which of course, everything you find in your classroom, you have your recordings in case you miss a class. And there is something we also call the drop-in session. All right. Your drop-in session is where somebody has missed a class. All right. You've watched the recording, you have more questions to ask, or you tried something you saw in the recording and you really couldn't get it. So you need somebody to be on the call with you to see where your problems are and help you out. And that's what we do during the drop-in sessions. Okay, so you're not stuck with a problem and there is no solution to that problem. All right, so you have those drop-in sessions, and we have something we call the mock interview sessions. And the mock interview is where we send you dummy jobs. You tailor your CV to those jobs and you apply. And we call you up, we ask you questions just like if you were in a typical interview. And I'll show you one of the mock interviews that we had recently. All right. We had a mock interview recently. I'm going to show you that very quickly. So you start to see how people prepare themselves ahead of sessions, upcoming interviews that they would have in the future. And this mock interview session had a total attendance of over 300 plus people that are currently within our program. All right. So I'm going to play this for you, and I want you to listen in to how we did a mock interview just for 1 minute. Okay, I'll just play this for 1 minute, and I want you to listen to how the mock interview session went. Okay, so let's listen.
Yes, it is.
All right. Okay, fantastic. So welcome to today's session. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing as well?
Yeah, I'm doing very well as well. All right. Thank you very much. So it's good to have you. Welcome. So my name is Mohammed, and I'm the HR officer here at Stenalytics. So I'm here alongside with the hiring manager, Olawale, and the CEO as well, Adeza. So we would love to meet you. So tell us a bit about yourself and your experience.
Okay, my name is Omolola. As you already know, I have had the opportunity to work as a business analyst in a financial industry for a number of years. Presently, I work as a business analyst in a consulting firm, which has exposed me to various other industries like telecommunications, transport, aviation, and hospitality. I'm proficient in the use of Power BI, in the use of Jira for project management.
Okay, so I'm just going to pause it there. All right. Now, I'm sure you're already enjoying listening to Lola. That was an interview preparation. And before you come up during this session, you'd have had something we call interview preparation using techniques like the SEAT approach and the STAR technique. So when you're asked to introduce yourself, you saw how eloquent Lola was, very articulate, talking about her introduction. And that's because she's using this approach called the SEAT approach, where you talk about your skills, you talk about your experience, you talk about your achievements, and then you talk about your traits or your type of person. And this is how we prepare you for the future on how to interview and get jobs. Okay, so I just needed to show you the platform, how you learn with us to ensure that you get the best possible results. And I'll tell you that all the different strategies I highlighted from the beginning of this session up until this moment, those are the things that have made us so successful as an organization and also made our participants so successful as well. All right. So the confidence is that's what we put into you to ensure that you go out there and you speak with all the confidence in the world possible. Okay, so let's take more questions. I think I have 2 hands up. I'll take those 2 questions and then we start to call it a day. So John, your hand is up. I've asked you to unmute yourself. Go ahead and ask your question, John.
Yes, good evening. Thank you very much for the session. Can you hear me?
It's a pleasure. Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead, John.
Yes, my question is from the very first session we had with you, talking
Yes.
about building your skills, and then building your portfolio, working on projects, and then standing out. So I want to ask, yes, when working on projects, what informed the kind of projects you work on? Do you just select projects randomly because you want to work on projects, or you have things that should guide you on selecting projects? That's my first question. And then, which platform is the best platform to actually compile your projects after working on them? Is it on LinkedIn or somewhere else? That's my question for now.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Very good questions, John. Number one, how do you decide? There are different factors that plays in the type of projects you get to work on. And I'll give you an example. Now, we've had a participant who got a job as a benefits analyst, Oluwatoyin. We've had participants that have gotten jobs in the health sector with zero experience working in health. All right. Now, you want to move into the health sector. And a typical example in the UK, the NHS hires a whole lot of people. And we tell our participants, if you can get a job with the NHS, please do. Why? Because the NHS would give you sponsorship. The NHS is a health-related company, all right? So if I want to get a job with the NHS as a data analyst, I need to show that I have understanding on certain areas with regards to the health sector. So I want to have some health-related projects under my belt. I want to show analysis that I've done for the UK economy, showing that how alcohol, let me just mute because I think there's a feedback from your end, showing alcohol-related deaths in the UK and how my analysis can help to reduce deaths due to alcohol in the UK. That can inform the type of project I work on because I am very direct and laser focused on the particular sector I want to work in. That's number one. Number two, as a data analyst or as a data scientist, there are core different areas that shows that you are grounded in data analytics and data science or data engineering, as the case might be. But let's take data analytics and data science, for example. About 80% of the time, as a data analyst and data scientist, you are going to be what? Cleaning your data. Because data is never going to be in the right shape or right format for you to analyze. Now, the percentage varies. Some people would say 85%, some would say 80%. But in essence, essentially, you spend the major part of your time preparing your data before you analyze. So that's a core skill as a data analyst or a data scientist. Even a business analyst, you need to know how to clean data. You need to know how to prepare your data for analysis. All right. So you want to have data cleaning projects in your portfolio that shows that you have expertise in that area. So that's another aspect. So that's a competence-based factor that determines the type of project you work on. So you have the career-based factor, which is I want to move into the health sector. I need to have more health-related projects under my belt. Okay. Now, what's the best platform? It's a combination of, so many. The best platform is the platform you create. So you must have your own portfolio, just like I showed you Victoria's portfolio. I showed you Lemuel's portfolio. All right. Now, learning in public means that you must also document your experience online. And I'll show you something very quickly on how somebody was able to get a job. The organization reached out to him. He did not apply. Okay. And I'll show you, let me just go on LinkedIn very quickly, and I'll show you the profile, okay, of this gentleman and how uploading his projects helped him get the job. His name is Victor. I'll show you two people. I'll show you Victor. Okay. I'll show you Victor and I'll show you Zainab, two people that got jobs. Zainab is a little bit more recent than Victor, but let's look at Victor first of all. Victor Oyeshino. Victor got a job about 2 months after joining our HR analytics program. All right. So you'd see when you go to Victor's bio, you'd see HR analyst with Tenalytics, part of his experience. Now, as part of his experience with Tenalytics, he has his projects. So you can see the skills, data visualization, Microsoft Excel, and what else? Let's see what he put there, problem solving and all of that. But you can see the projects he built using Excel. So you see this project he put here, recruitment dashboard, right? You can see that. You have another project, employee satisfaction dashboard using Excel. Another one, attrition dashboard, absenteeism dashboard, another absenteeism dashboard. The fact that he had these dashboards on his profile, he was invited for the interview that landed him this job with Hugo in Chicago, Illinois, in the US. All right, I'll show you another person's profile very quickly and why it's important for you to learn in public. Zainab. Zainab got a job in December. She moved into the role this January after completing her training with us. So if you go to Zainab's experience as well, you'd see data analyst with Tenalytics. All right. She got a job with Shortree in Nigeria as a data manager. All right. But if you look at Zainab's posts, let me click on her posts, show all posts, and you'd see that Zainab properly documented her experience as a data analyst. So you can see here she got a job, or when she was announcing that she got the job. Let's move a little bit down and you'd see here she's talking about, as a data analyst, I've learned the that data storage is a critical skill. So you see this crypto vision project that she posted. She talked about what she did on this particular project. This is one of the projects you're going to work on as a data analyst with Tenalytics. You learn how to forecast crypto prices and so on and so forth. And this was one of the projects she worked on. And you can see properly documented the project, telling a story of Dogecoin volatility and so on and so forth. And she posted it online. That's the most important thing. All right. So what does this do? This is the same crypto project that she posted as well. But this time around, it's a bit more interactive. So anybody who comes on to look at Zainab's profile, they see that she's the same person on paper, the same person that has the portfolio. She has that same persona on LinkedIn. Is very, very key, very important. This is the Nestle project. Now, if you go to Victoria's profile, you'd see this same Nestle project that Zainab has posted. All right. If you go to Victoria, you'll see the same Nestle project. That's the Nestle product analytics using Power BI, all right, which is one of the projects you'd work on in the data analytics program. So Zainab documented her experience online, which is something we always implore you to do because it showcases your depth of knowledge and expertise in that area. So this is how people have gotten jobs with us. And I can quickly just show you Zainab's profile once more on our slide, and even Victor as well. Okay, so I hope I answered your question, John. So I would say there is a one-stop shop, which is the best platform. This is Victor over here, all right, Victor Oyeshino. Okay, I showed his profile on LinkedIn. And Zainab, who also got a job recently, this Zainab over here, you saw her profile on LinkedIn as well. Everybody's LinkedIn profile carries Tenalytics as a previous employer. You're not going to tell a recruiter that you were learning because it gives the impression that you are new into the space. Okoli, all you have to do is click on the link. It shows you the amount. If you're in Nigeria, you have the amount to pay, the currency to pay in Nigeria in Naira, right? So all you need to do, Okoli, is click on the link for the main stack and you have access to how to pay, all right? So I've answered John's question. I think I did well to answer your question. I'll take Eniola. Eniola, please, I've asked you to unmute yourself. Go ahead and ask your question. And then I'll take one more and then we wrap it up for today. Go ahead, Eniola.
Thank you very much. My name, like you rightly said, is Eniola. I'm joining from Manchester in the UK. I joined pretty late. I got the notification on, so I started following you from Instagram. I think you used a particular content creator, one white guy like that. So I started following. I've known about analytics when I was in Nigeria. So I recently just moved to UK, and I'm working with Audi Store. It's a retail store across Europe, but I work with the Manchester business retail office. So I have this goal that I've been trying to pursue, because when I was in Nigeria, I worked in banking industry. From the banking industry, I worked in fintech. Alongside, I was able to also get some senior chief role in the fintech space. But that fintech, I've always had this mindset that I want to transition fully to tech. So I've worked with a lot of tech guys. I see their work is fascinating. You just want to do what they are doing. And I've been doing a lot of video research on YouTube on data science, data analytics, data engineering, and all that. So when I got to UK and started working with Audi, I saw their data. Not like directly. I mean, I saw from the various reports we get from them. I see the way these guys are using data, and being a very big store in the UK. So we have other retail stores like Tesco, like Costco and all that, but Aldi seems to be the highest paying among them. So I was fortunate to get the job, but then my focus is to work with their national IT, which is actually something everybody that want to work in that space, they want to get. But then I asked this particular question, which you didn't really get what I'm saying. So my focus is, I want to be, most times when people are applying for their job, they're ultimately looking for the very best. So I just shadowed them somehow. I was like, I have a data science experience, but I didn't get the job. So I felt like the same has to do with like maybe getting a data analytics, data science, and probably data engineering experience from you guys. Is there a discount to that? So if I'm going to do something like data analytics, data science together, and reapply for this role, because these roles will come every now and then. They tend to chunk out every now and then various roles in their various departments. So I've been targeting their IT department, and I'm focusing on becoming like their business or data science and data analytics person. So I don't know if you have like a discount that I can look into that can help me cover. So something I can pay once, say you want to pay for 2 different modules, data analytics, data science. Is there a combined discount around that question?
All right. Okay, very good question, Eniola. Fantastic. I've lived in Manchester for a few months in Salford Keys. So interesting to know you're joining us from Manchester. Now, one thing I would advise, and I always advise people not to do, is learning forever. You don't want to learn forever. All right. So you don't want to spend all your time learning. When you can learn, apply to job, get a job, be doing the job, and then you are able to continue learning. Learning is a lifelong process. Okay. So my advice is to start with one. All right. Start with one. Maybe you want to start with data analytics, because you talked about data analytics and data science. You start with data analytics, double down on that, get all the skills, work on the projects, and attempt that same job application. All right. So what I'll advise you to do is you can provide us with the details of the job. So let's see the requirements, and then we can, guide you to say, go for the data science instead of data analytics, and so on and so forth. But again, we've had participants who have come back. They've done data science. They come back for data engineering. A case in point is this particular gentleman. His name is Nathaniel. I think, I'm not sure if I have him on my slide. I think I do. I'm not sure I do at this point. His name is Nathaniel. Nathaniel, he joined our data science, first of all, and then he came back, he joined data engineering. Okay, and we've had people who have done that severally. Now, for an alumnus coming back as a returning customer, you have a 5% discount right off the bat, okay? So you have a 5% discount from the original fee, from the original discounted fee, okay? So you're not paying the full amount, you're going to pay the discounted fee, and you have an additional 5% discount when you join another program, okay? So that's the extra discount we have for our returning customers and any of our alumnus or alum, eventually joining us again for another program. So let's take, for example, you join the data analytics, you get to pay $500. Now you want to join again for the data science. You're not going to pay the $500. You're going to pay less 5% of the fee, and that gets you into the program itself. Okay, I hope I answered that question from you. Do you have a referral bonus? Yes, we do have a referral bonus, Ezekiel. And the referral bonus is based on the currency that the person pays. And I'll give you just a rough example. All right. Now, if you refer somebody to us, the person pays in pounds, let's say 500 pounds. All right. You get 30 pounds referral bonus. If the person pays in dollars, you get $30 referral bonus. If the person pays in Naira, you get 30K referral bonus. So when you receive the email from us today, you'd have all these details, highlighted in the email together with the slides and also with the recording for the session. All right. You're welcome, Eniela. Follow-up question with, okay, absolutely. So just send an email to Nene, and Nene would help address that as well. Okay. I'm just going to check if we have any more questions before we wrap up. But remember, guys, the discounts, like we mentioned, is available just for the first 20 people to be a part of the program. And one thing I always like to advise people to do, and I would implore you to do, is follow us across all our socials, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, to see the amazing work that we do. We have so many sessions like this, and I bet you the things you learned today, especially at the first part of the session, and also going into the different areas of what you need to learn, a lot of people would search for this and would never find it. And I've interacted with so many people, and the reason why they have not been getting a job is simply because they don't know what to do. Information overload, information is everywhere, and they struggle to get the best information to help them take a decision. And I'm going to end by telling you the story of one person, a gentleman who got a job in November last year, which is about 2 months ago. And the change, the little thing he had to change, and why information is very, very important. And this is the gentleman, his name is Olamide. All right. Olamide joined us last year, July. All right. He lived in the UK. He worked as a business analyst for 5 years in the UK. Olamide was out of job in February. He came to us, wanted to join our program, and he was very distraught. And we had a conversation, and he said, look, Adeza, I need to get a job. Okay. I need to get a job, and I want to be sure that living in the UK without a job is very difficult financially. So I had a conversation with Olamide, and I asked for his CV. And one of the things I saw on his CV that was lacking, and the gap, even though he had experience as a business analyst, there was no Excel, there was no Power BI, there was no SQL. All right. And apart from that, there were other areas with formatting. Instead of listing achievements, he had responsibilities, which is something that we thrash out during the CV review sessions. So you don't list out responsibilities on your CV as experience. You list out your achievements and what you were able to achieve on that particular role. So I looked at all these things and I told him that, look, Olamide, the best way I can help you is join our business analysis program. Again, even though you have the experience as a business analyst, and cover these areas. Join the mentorship sessions, the CV review sessions, and that's what would help you. Now, Olamide did that in July. In fact, the discount was already off at the time he joined, so he paid the full amount to join. Olamide took a chance for somebody who did not have a job at that time. He paid the full amount, joined the program, and in November, after working with him on his CV directly, I worked with him directly because I knew his situation, all right? Olamide got a job in November. You can see the message he sent to me on WhatsApp. Hi, Adeza, how are you doing? I got a job as a business data analyst. Now, I want you to look at the job title. The job title did not say business analyst. It said what? Business data analyst. So the difference and the game changer was Excel, Power BI, and SQL that he added to the skills he already had. And this information he never had. He never knew what to do until he came to us. All right. So, and this is him sending me a message again during the new year, towards the end of the year, last year, 2023. Compliments of the season, Adeza. This is wishing you a fruitful and fulfilling 2024. Thank you for being a helping hand for me this year. All right. And so many people would fall into the same, situation as Olamide. You don't know what to do. You need to transition. You're in the UK, you're in Canada, you're in the US, you're in Nigeria, where you have so many opportunities today. A lot of people have left Nigeria, migrating to different countries, and they have left gaps in the system. They've left gaps in the banks, gaps in FMCG, gaps in different other sectors. And these companies need people with the skills to fill those roles. And that's where you come in. All right. So I'm going to end our session here today. And if you have, let's take Ilolo and Antoinette. Antoinette, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I'll take Antoinette because I can see your hand up really. I'll take that question and then would call it a day. Antoinette, please go ahead.
Okay. Hi. Good evening from Chicago.
Good evening, Antoinette. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Shoot.
Yeah, so I just really wanted to know more about like the cybersecurity because like you didn't really touch more on it. I wanted to know like the tools, like someone in cybersecurity, the tools would be getting and the projects I will be working on. Because I am currently like schooling, but I'm new to all this whole stuff and stuff like that. So like I really want to know. And also you mentioned the time for cybersecurity is the same like all over the world. And I'm like, if it's 11 a.m. West African time, that's about 4 a.m. Chicago time. So that time doesn't really work for me.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, because it's a new program, we launched a cybersecurity, we launched the Scrum Master program in January. And because of this, we haven't, segmented the class yet. We will do this eventually, but not now. Okay, so for those joining us from the US and from Canada, they have to join at very early hours, especially on Saturdays. And what some of them also do is simply because what they simply do is on Sundays, when the classes would be a lot more favorable to them, they watch the classes, they join the classes on Sundays, and they get to watch the recordings of the previous classes the previous Saturday. So that's what they do at the moment for those in that particular program. Now, how that's the classes itself in terms of the timing. What are you going to learn in cybersecurity? You're going to learn, you start first of all from introduction because you need to know the foundation. All right. Then you're going to move into computing and networking. And you'd work on using virtual environments where you can implement and test out some of the basics and foundations of networking. So you're going to use tools like VMware. All right. You'd use Python to test some offensive and defensive cybersecurity network scripts you'll be running. You'd also learn how to use Linux and Metasploit. You'd learn how to use Wireshark. You would work on network security, endpoint security, web and application security, and you'd also learn how to protect and prevent attacks on databases. So you need to understand how to leverage SQL as a tool to interact with databases. So while you not go into SQL, for example, in depth as a cybersecurity analyst, you will know how to use SQL, know how to perform the crude operations, the create, the read, the update, and the delete operations using SQL. And these are some of the things that you will do in the cybersecurity program. Your projects are also going to be real-world-based projects whereby your facilitators and your trainers, and I'm going to show you the brochures, the brochure of the cybersecurity program, and you can look at the nitty-gritty. And the advantage of being in a program with Tenalytics is my experience in the data space for over a decade, the co-founder, your cybersecurity subject matter experts, the type of projects and their experience will be the projects and the same experience you'll be undergoing. So you get to experience the same things that we have experienced. The difference is the names of the companies have been changed. The data has also been changed in a way that you can't tie it to a particular organization. All right. And that's how you learn with us at Tenalytics. Okay. So I don't know if I answered the question, Antoinette, but with regards to the timing of the class, we will eventually have that later during the year, but not now because of the number we have for those programs, because they're pretty new at the moment. Can I reach out for one-on-one? Absolutely, you can do that. All you have to do is when you receive the slides, the email at the end of today's session, you will have a link to indicate if you want the one-on-one session. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, you would also get a prompt to join the one-on-one on Tuesdays. It happens on Tuesdays, one session during the day, and another session late in the evening. That's for those in the UK and so on. So in the evening sessions, for those in the US and in Canada, you can easily join those sessions in the evening. We will send you a prompt eventually, but the moment you fill the form and you indicate that I want to speak with a professional, that's a trigger to get invited. All right. As we wrap up today, ensure that you have a friend, you have a colleague in the office, you have somebody, a brother, a sister, a family member that you think can benefit from this. All right. Share the message with them. Follow us across all our platforms. Go on YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube. You have a lot of free, amazing content. You also have access to all the success stories across all our programs. So you can live and also experience the transformational journey of some of the people that have gone through us. All right. Thank you very much for being a part of your Saturday today. And I would love to see you start with us on the 2nd of March, next week, Saturday. This is the best time to get into tech. The best time was about probably 10 years ago when I started. The next best time is today. All right. So get into one of the programs and we'll be very happy to work with you to help you transition. Thank you very much, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. And until we meet in another session, meet in class where you'll be getting your journey started, have an amazing time and cheers, everyone.